at all. Even if I could, it would all be great. Put your picture on my wall. It reminds me that it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
Moe Factz with Adam Curry for June 7th, 2023, episode number 92. Hey, everybody. It's been a hot minute. Did you miss us? We're happy to be back, and it's time to do it once again. Adam Curry coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country, and we'll be spinning that wheel of topics from here to Northern Virginia. Please say hello to my friend on the other end. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Moe Factz.
How you doing, Adam?
Mo, now that I hear you, much better than 5 minutes ago. Fantastic, brother. How's everything been on your end?
Everything's best of times, worst of times, but we persevere.
Okay.
Everything's good. Everything's good. Go ahead.
No, as long as the worst of times aren't too bad, then everything's okay.
Hey, man, we're living and breathing, so, I mean, can't complain about much more than that.
Okay, well, I'm happy to hear you. I know everyone's probably going, whoa, there's another Moe Factz. Wait a minute, stop the presses. I got to stop what I'm doing and start listening right now. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for subscribing, hanging in there, and awaiting the next episode in the 100-episode saga of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. Fam good, everything? Rocco good, all that stuff?
Rocco's good. He has a birthday coming up, about to be 3. The family's good.
Oh, really? Is he going to be 3 already? Is that? Oh, man, we've been doing this for a while, haven't we?
And we've known each other for 4 years. I mean, because I know every time your anniversary, I always remember it because we talked on your honeymoon.
That's
so it's
right.
like,
That's right. That's exactly right.
So I'll always be there to remind you if you ever forget.
Dude, it's only been 4 years. If I start forgetting now, I'm in big trouble. Right. I should be okay. Well, what do you say? Shall we crank it up here and get everything going? I have no idea what the topic is. We don't discuss these things. Mo even has to listen delayed to my other shows to make sure that he doesn't get influenced. And why don't we crank it up right now? It's not even rusty. It still works perfectly. There it is, the wheel of topics. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Of course, Mo knows exactly where it stops. The topic for episode 92 of Moe Factz with Adam Curry is...
We're at Terror Alert Orange.
Okay, well, Terror Alert Orange. All right, well, all
Terror
right.
Alert
Orange, everybody. All right, what does it mean, Mo?
Well, in previous shows, I have mentioned that the forming of the orange people.
Yes, as a new minority class.
As a new person of color.
Yeah, exactly, yes.
And let me explain what I mean by that, and hopefully across this whole episode, I can validate what I'm sad to see is coming. That there is a separation of quote unquote white people, and one group is being demoted from whiteness to orange. Now I know that sounds crazy, but this is what I see, and hopefully I can. I don't want to prove it.
Right.
I have to share with you my analysis.
Right. Well, so honestly, what's interesting is I haven't heard the actual color orange mentioned, but obviously that's a metaphor. What we are seeing is Department of Homeland Security coming out with, I think basically if you're male, straight, white, if you can be Christian, that'd be even better, then you are definitely targeted.
And that net is even wider than that. So I guess let's go ahead. This is this is the culmination of what I've been seeing. And this is James Carville. And this is Fox responding to James Carville's comments.
Welcome back. Well, Democrat strategist James Carville is resorting to name-calling to blast the Republican Party. We've heard this before. Over the boos and heckling during President Biden's State of the Union address.
Well, I told people I have a PhD in white trashology, and you saw real white trash on display. And let me say something about Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She dresses like white trash. She really needs a fashion consultant. Could I recommend George Santos? He could do a good job of dressing up where she doesn't announce her white trashdom by her own clothes.
Yikes. Attacking a woman's clothes, I just think this isn't a good look.
White trashology. I'm liking that now. That's a college course right there.
PhD in white trashology. And the weird thing is I think that was McEnany, or I think it's the former
Kayleigh McEnany. Yeah.
Yes, she says attacking her clothes. Did you miss the 800-pound white elephant in the room here? He called her white trash.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Let's go back to what Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is following when she said, I think, liar or you lie. She pulled the stunt out again that they do.
Oh, in the State of the Union, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
You don't plan for these things. You've done a lot of them. You've advised a lot of candidates and presidents. I guess if you had your pick, you'd say maybe better to not have someone screaming lie, or maybe just do the darn thing. But it also seemed to expose exactly what the president's up against. Was that a bad moment for Republicans?
Well, I told people I have a PhD in white trashology, and you saw real white trash on display. And let me say something about Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She dresses like white trash. She really needs a fashion consultant. Could I recommend George Santos? He could do a good job of dressing up where she doesn't announce her white trashdom by her own clothes.
Oh, okay. So that was the original that Kayleigh was responding to.
Right. The reason why I played the original so you can see what Ari Melbourne's question was and how he responded, and it made even Ari
a little
upset because he was like you can't say that. I mean, because for people that may be outside the United States, this is one of those slurs, and it's intra-group. That's kind of low as you can get. There's one more lower, and I'm gonna get to that one.
Oh, well, wait, there's more.
Right, but do you remember what Marjorie Taylor Greene had on when she went to the State of the Union?
Man,
she had the all white on.
All white, yes, okay.
With the fur, and she looked like the nature girl, Ric Flair. You know what I'm saying? Like she came in there ready for action. So that's what he's talking about. And see, this goes to show you that it's not even cultural or regional, because James Carville is as Southern as you can get.
Right.
I want to point this out and because when I heard him say it, I'm like, okay.
I'm looking at if
he's from the South.
If anything, this was more Kardashian than anything, really. I pulled up a picture here.
Right, but what made me think about is like the boa, the fur, you know what I'm saying? Like how, so, but that's how he came at her, excuse me. And it just, when you start hearing words like this being thrown across in the political discourse, we're somewhere else with it.
Although, it is James Carville, it's like, okay, whatever. I mean, does he still matter? I mean, what words matter always, but I'm just thinking
he matters because what we're having here is the centrist is going to become the new majority, whether it's right or left. This is the whole thing with the Republican Party. Mm-hmm. They don't know what to do right now, and where the color orange come from is Donald Trump. Let's be clear,
of course.
And do we want to have the orange Republican, or they'll go back to being the red Republican?
Well, which obviously is going to be DeSantis, the money Republican. Let's put it that way.
But can they do that? Because they have this orange monster, for lack of a better word, how they view it, not how I view it, that they have to contend with. And without that block, they're not going anywhere unless they appeal to the center. And that's why I'm saying, like, James Carville is the non-woke Democratic Party or representative of that.
Correct.
The same way it's like, we don't want the woke. What's going to end up happening is the streams is going to be getting rid of. I'm gonna lay something out here. Well, because your questions always.
Yeah, let me just position this for a second. Mm-hmm. Right now in the political arena on the Republican side, we have a clear money driven campaign behind DeSantis. And the media, all even Fox, all leftist based, they are going out of their way to show polls. And I have no belief in polls, so it's who's positioning this. So when I hear CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and on all of them, and NBC News saying, "Oh, Donald Trump is killing DeSantis in the polls," that's meant to split the party. I think there's probably truth to it, but all we know is that Trump is benefiting from the media trying to discredit DeSantis. So it's actually helping Trump, whether he's ahead in the polls or not.
Correct.
So
I'll agree with that.
Now, my personal experience out here in the Hill Country is there's definitely still a large contingent of people who are behind Trump, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, Ronnie's got something going on," so they are falling for it.
I can see that.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Though of those two groups, and I'm posing it as a question, of those two groups, the Trump people and the Ronnie people, if their candidate didn't win, who would be more likely not to vote?
Not to vote?
Yes.
I don't know. Well, that's a good question.
I would think it would be Trump people.
They wouldn't vote at all?
You want it, you got it.
Yeah, possible. Yeah, I can see that.
And I think I'm going to lay this out, but I just want to, first of all, the language that's being
the language
thrown around.
It's in fact, it's racist.
And it's not only James Carville, clip 4.
Well, let's take a walk down memory lane and some of the things Republicans have been called by Democrats.
The last thing we need is Neanderthal thinking.
The Republican Party is basically a domestic terrorist cell at this point.
They're starting to look like the jihadists.
Not a political party. They're a white nationalist movement. They're a fascist threat to our nation.
Party of dupes, party of knuckleheads, party of weirdos, party of freaks.
You can put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
The credulous boomer rube demo that backs Donald Trump, that wants to think that Donald Trump's a smart one, and y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling, even though
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading,
But James Carville, I want to remind you, when Paula Jones accused Bill Clinton, James Carville's boss, of sexual assault, a fact that Bill Clinton pled guilty to, lost his law license over, and agreed to an almost $1 million fine. James Carville said about Paula Jones that if you drag $100 through a trailer park, it's amazing what you'll find that turns up. He has a history of doing this. And my advice to everybody in politics is if you're going to use the word white something, is it okay if somebody else uses the word black something, or Puerto Rican something, or Hispanic something? So if you don't want it to happen to somewhere that you care about, don't use those words yourself.
Oh, Mo, I really appreciate you jumping in there for the white people. It's about time. We need your help, brother.
I told you.
You were right, but you black people first, and we're next.
It starts with us, and that's why I see this being, it's the same thing with, think about Black Lives Matter. When they started getting too rowdy, it's like we need to pivot away from them. Even though they were useful to us, the same way with the Trump or the orange people. They were useful, but now they're like, well, we got Ukraine going. We can get a lot of Republicans behind on that.
Yep.
We can. This the uniparty, which has always been. It's always been the uniparty.
I love you, man. This is what Tina has said at home all day long. It's the uniparty. Yes, you're right. That's exactly it.
And the uniparty is the one world government, which is by nearly full definition white supremacy.
White supremacy.
And yes, I had to go there, but I'm going to explain to you. Listen to the terms. You're white trash, Neanderthal, which Neanderthal is the other N word.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that.
The way it's thrown around, and I've heard troglodyte, mouth breather. These are all
I like Boomer Rube. I kind of like that one. Yeah. Boomer Rube.
Right. What does that imply? Lower education.
Yeah.
The non-intellectual, the non-elite.
Yeah.
All your blue collar. You work for a living. You don't think. That's the whole thing with the office and work from home kind of thing, that work from home crowd,
Yes.
Yeah, and the way they flipped it was that people that had to fry fries, you're essential.
Yeah, for a hot minute. For a hot minute, you're real important, and then we don't need you anymore.
They never were, because why do I need to put fries in the bag, risk my life to put fries in the bag for $10?
That's right. Only
Are you really essential?
People. Yeah, no, essential people do that. Exactly.
And just to add context to the whole Neanderthal thing, and I didn't go down that rabbit hole because that's a loaded. When you start using that term, which is synonymous to caveman and that kind of thing, that's really heavyweight racial language.
It's interesting that I forget who this was. A buddy of mine. We were having dinner, and he had one of the 23andMe tests, which of course I always cringe when I hear someone did that at all. And he said, "I'm 2% Neanderthal." I said, "That's a thing on the results." Yeah, Neanderthal. That's really interesting. Now that you bring this up,
and if we want to be elitist, it's a Neanderthal. They even tried to do that, like change it. But
interesting.
I want you to listen to this room full of elitists when Joe Biden drops the other N word.
The whole tone has changed. And, every single year we've done better. As I said, but surprisingly last year we ran into this sort of Neanderthal crowd that, No, I mean it. No, I'm serious. I mean, when you think about it, did you ever think we'd be fighting over, 18 years later to reauthorize this?
Wow, that's so weird. I find it interesting, but of course also beautiful that you pick up on this as the slur that it is. Where I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. The other N word. You're so spot on.
And that's the second time he used it, because it was in the other clip, in the super clip they had there, or the super cut, excuse me, that they threw together. Now we got to go to Marjorie Taylor Greene, their favorite target. This is the 60 Minutes interview. And I want you to listen to the setup first before Marjorie Taylor Greene even gets to speak. And I know it's weird. People are like, oh, he's defending Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, I'm letting you know, for lack of a better word, the White Walkers are coming. Like on Game of Thrones. You remember how everybody was fighting with each other? And here come the Ice Walkers, or whatever their name was. I think it was White Walker. Whatever it is, they're coming. And they're coming for all of us.
Rare for a member of the House of Representatives to become well-known nationally, especially someone in only their second term. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, is as famous as they get. She's gained her national celebrity, some say notoriety, with a sharp tongue and some pretty radical views, like her proposal for a national divorce where red and blue states would go their separate ways. But she has managed in just 2 years in Congress to accumulate real power, landing on important committees and influencing the direction of Republican policies. Before Congress, she helped run the family construction company in Georgia, known to be smart and fearless, and has a history of believing in conspiracy theories. We interviewed her earlier this week before former President Trump was indicted.
Yeah, I never even... Let me just play that last bit again. That was really good. Hold on.
Before Congress, she helped run the family construction company in Georgia, known to be smart and fearless.
Smart. Unlike all those other dumb hicks there, smart. She's the smart one. Yeah.
Well, wait a minute. Okay. They had to say that, but we're going to... So you see the already set up, they're tying her to Trump being indicted, because this rolled out right before the indictment.
Yep.
So once Trump is gone, she'll be the person, the punching bag.
Yeah, the orange designee.
Right. So now they called her smart. Now listen to that's the setup. Now look at the knockout.
We looked up some words that have been said about you.
Okay.
Crazy, Q clown, Looney Tune, unhinged, moron. Pretty ugly stuff.
Looks like the average troll in my Twitter feed, so I don't really care.
You're used to it.
So I don't let name calling bother me or offend me. I just don't.
How much have you styled yourself after Donald Trump?
There it is.
People say that you are Trump in high heels.
I didn't intentionally style myself after President Trump, but I can see how people draw those similarities. We both come from the same industry, construction. I also have pretty much a plain speaking style, and so does he.
But also, he's often in attack mode, and you appear to be.
Yeah, I think our government deserves it. They don't really deserve to be respected that much.
Including, for her, the president. While many consider Marjorie Taylor Greene's behavior outlandish, even thuggish, MAGA activists and right-wing media eat it up.
God bless you guys and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
In just 2 years, Greene, at age 48, has moved from the fringe of the party to the front row.
Interesting how thug can be used as the N-word for both colors now. For all colors.
Glad you...
Yeah,
I'm glad you recognize that when the language, we have to pay attention. Moron. Why did you go off? You called her smart, and then you go off and read this list. All of this took place before even Marjorie Taylor Greene got to speak. The setup and then the list of words that you're described as.
The Q clown is my favorite.
Oh, well, well, there were some outtakes. You want to hear some more?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You got them right here. Number 7?
Yeah, number 7.
We looked up some words that have been said about you.
Okay.
Crazy, Q clown, Looney Tune, unhinged, moron.
I've got a few more. Osama bin Karen, a dipstick, a dingbat, a dolt, a dullard, a dimwit, a doofus, a dummy, dumbass. I'm only a third of the way through the D's.
Looks like the average troll in my Twitter feed.
A good argument for misogyny. Nazi wine mom, Nazi cave woman, just Nazi.
Oh, I don't let name calling bother me or offend me. I just don't.
Butterbrain. This one's from someone across the pond, a daft wanker. That's British for stupid. Lives on a diet of glue sticks. A lower level life form.
I don't really care.
Can I speak to the manager Barbie, meth Barbie, Nazi Barbie? Again, just Nazi. Oh, sorry. Okay. Low IQ anon.
Now, wait a minute. Is that the same interviewer? That's the same?
No, that's the Daily Show. But
oh, okay. That's funny. Yeah. But that's the list, though. That's true. I've heard all those terms.
Low IQ anon.
Yeah. Can I see the manager Barbie? It's funny.
But everything's rooted in intelligence.
Of course, because these people are stupid. They're dumb. They're not playing along with the game. They don't understand how it's played.
Correct. So this is the orange crowd. They've been insulted this way, deplorable. And at the end of the day, I think they're a problem that the Republican Party doesn't know what to do with, and they created this own problem. Now we got to go back a little bit and talk about Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin was the pre-Trump. Okay?
Yeah, totally.
And I think they set her up there to embarrass her, to make the whole, it wasn't the Tea Party then, I don't believe, but it was that mindset was being formed.
Well,
when Sarah Palin and McCain.
It was totally. First of all, it was outrageous, the misogynistic nature of it, because Sarah Palin, she was. I remember reading her. I remember walking through the airport, and I'd bought her book because I was doing a lot of traveling back then, and I remember how people would look at me with disdain, like, you're reading that woman's book? And and we know now in hindsight that she was really set up by was it Jane Pauley who set her up on that question?
Are you talking about what do you read? What do you read? Question.
Yeah, I think it wasn't Jane Pauley.
It was 60 Minutes, I believe, right? It was 60 Minutes,
I think so. Let me just look it up real quick. No, Katie Couric. I'm sorry, Katie Couric. I get those two confused. Yeah, it was Katie Couric who set her up. And it was. And
but
it was
I believe the whole thing. I think the whole thing was a setup. Like John McCain's not going to beat Obama. Let's go ahead and I'm just purely speculating here. But this is an educated guess. Mm-hmm. We got this party forming over here that are very, they were very unhappy with how Bush did things. Even going back to Clinton and the first Bush, they were just like fed up. And this is when the Trump party started forming before even Trump, came in, commandeered it or they elevated him, whichever way you want to look at it. So I believe the Republicans like, let's put this hillbilly out here. That's how they look at it, and she's going to make a fool of herself and then they'll go crawl back in their hole.
I think now this was the 2008 presidential election. So what you're calling kind of the Trump party at the time, I would say was the Ron Paul Republicans.
Yeah. That's where it's.
Well, it was the original Tea Party, which got hijacked. And it got hijacked right around the convention. And they just, kicked him to the curb. And then all these douchebags came in. Then all of a sudden it was McCain. And maybe, we had just started with no agenda. So, we're only looking at things, we're just kind of getting into it, me certainly. But that I would say the original Tea Party is, of course, that, that carried on to become the Orange Party.
Right. But they try to hijack them the same way they're trying to do. Yes. Now they're past the hijacking. They're past, because they're going all out. They're already there. They're like, okay, it's Ronnie. Well, they're trying to ride the tiger. They tried to ride the tiger. Mm-hmm. But the only problem is it sounds like a good idea. But now they're on the back of the tiger and they don't know what to do. They don't know which way to go. Trump, I wouldn't even say Trump, because the MAGA party or the orange people have even pushed back against Trump over the vaccine.
Over the vax.
So it's bigger. It's bigger than Trump. And I think they understand that. And I think that's why they have to deal with them. But let's go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because you brought that up, because I get this all the time. It's like, why doesn't Trump just say, I blew it? Or he doesn't even, he just has to recognize that the vaccines were not a great idea. Do you think this is a specific tactic that he's not doing this? Or is this ego that he's not doing this?
I think it's a specific tactic.
And he'll pop it later on when he needs it?
He can always fall back on, I didn't make you take it.
Right, but he hasn't done that yet.
Why would you? I mean, cause it's kind of like, I'm not losing anything by not saying it. It's kind of the same thing. Like, if I don't say it, my people are still going to vote for me. But if I do say it, it introduces a whole nother set of problems that I don't want to deal with. So I can say, hey, I got you the vaccine. So the people think the vaccine are a good thing still. We're like, well, you got to give it to him. He got us the vaccine. And the people to know what's up is like, yeah, that's a bad thing he did, but I'm still going to vote for him. So I think he's doing the right thing, just in my opinion. And, why I stand with the vax, but politically, I think he's doing the right thing because it's a game of chicken. It's kind of like when people figure out they're being duped, he can play that he's been duped too. Like, I'm in with y'all. Like, yeah. So
you're smart. I love you, Mo. You're so smart. It's nice to get a fresh perspective on these things. Love it. Okay.
All right. So let's go back and listen to Sarah Palin, the pre-Trump.
For Republicans, Sarah Palin ignited a new political force.
Sarah Palin came out and brought the House down. She electrified that GOP base like no one I had ever seen. And you recall, that was one of the times where the prompter failed and she just ad-libbed it.
I love those hockey moms. You know, they say the difference between a hockey mom and a pit bull? Lipstick.
And people loved it.
Yeah.
She was almost a pre-Trump in the way that she just sort of had this matter of fact and sort of folksy. She wasn't too highbrow. And so real Americans, regular folks, could relate to her.
Well, I'm not a member of the permanent political establishment.
She was the beginning of the shift where the people began to believe that they could take the power back from the elite.
I've learned quickly these last few days that if you're not a member in good standing of the Washington elite, then some in the media consider a candidate unqualified for that reason alone. But
she tapped into a simmering grievance in the country that's real. There's a rebellion that's taken place in this country against the elites.
Thank you, and God bless America. Thank you.
I'm glad you played that because I'm just realizing, man, she already was on the media, fake news. I remember when she said, "Can I call you Joe?" She had it. She had them. It was taken by storm. It was rocking and rolling, and she just couldn't. I mean, they took her down so hard with the media, and I'd say the most important factor in that was Saturday Night Live with I always forget.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the actress
Tina
Fey, and
Tina Fey.
Yeah, and she said, it was Tina Fey who said, "I can see Russia from my porch." Sarah Palin never said that, but that's how good it was that everyone believes now to this day that Sarah Palin said that.
And was Sarah Palin right?
Of course she's right. It's right across the water there. Of course she can.
I don't mean about that. I'm saying about Russia. And that shows you how the uniparty moves, right?
Yeah.
That's the dumbest thing we ever heard. And now it's like we got to do everything to take out Russia.
Take out Russia. You're absolutely right.
Even with Mitt Romney, you remember it was like our biggest threat is Russia. And Obama was like, "Did you get your foreign policy from the 1980s?" And now look.
Yep, you're right. You're right. Well, that was also the time when Obama was, hot mic'd talking to Medvedev saying, "Hey, man, once I'm in, don't worry about it. We'll take care of y'all. We'll fix this all up. We'll hook you up, bro."
We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
They hooking them up all right.
Yeah, sure did.
So that was the origin of the orange. I know people like this orange thing. Let it go, Mo. No, this is Malcolm Nance. AKA, no, don't laugh.
Malcolm Nance makes me laugh. I can't help it.
He used to make me laugh too. To after I played this set of clips. This is Malcolm Nance, AKA the Neil deGrasse Tyson of counterintelligence, and that's how he has it in his bio. I've listened to several of his lectures or long form interviews, and every time they mention that. The Neil deGrasse Tyson of counterintelligence.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. This is the number 6-8A first?
This is we're going straight in because I want you to hear that this is the end. This is the punchline. And then I want you to hear how he got to that point. Number 6.
The deranged ideology of the orange jihad.
That's a technical intelligence phrase. If I were to actually, really. Okay, I want you.
That makes it even funnier. Then you realize that doesn't.
I want you to think about this for 1 minute because we do come up with some very clever phraseology for our strategic intelligence assessments. Yeah. And that little turn of a phrase immediately evokes the knowledge of what I'm talking about, right? The orange jihad. Which is what is going on here, which is, I could have used Caucasian jihad or something like that.
No, orange is perfect.
No.
Orange.
Yeah. What is this interview from?
This is him and Mark Lamont Hill.
Wow.
And the title of is covering his book, They Want to Kill Americans.
Got
which, I don't want to lead the witness or whatever, how you say that. You know what I'm saying? But I want you to pay attention to the duplicity of his language, and how it could be taken. Even They Want to Kill Americans. That title, like, look at that. They want to kill Americans. Who's the they?
Yeah, well,
and who's the Americans?
Well, yeah, equally good question.
Because that can go either way. It's the they the one world government, want to kill actual Americans, or are the orange and we see the non-orange as the actual Americans? And he does this with his whole. He's gifted. I got to give him his credit. I mean, I ain't a hater. So he's very gifted at what he does.
That's what intelligence is. Intelligence is information warfare, and sometimes you can be really good just by your stupidity. I think a lot of information warfare people are not even that smart, but they use the right words at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Or they're very smart, and it's just their perspective. They see things that
makes it seem dumb.
When you go in a bubble, when you go in this bubble, there's no room for thinking the other way.
Fair point.
So it's like I'm smart, but I'm dumb at the same time. Like I'm dumb at how the world works, but I'm highly intelligent. You see? That makes sense.
Yeah. Fair point. Totally.
Let's go ahead and get to number one now. So you know where we're coming from with the Orange Jihad. Now let's get to number one.
I started this book in August of 2020. And what I was seeing was a follow-on to some of the writing that I had done in a previous book about Trump and the Trump-Russia scandal. The last book was called Plot to Betray America. And what I saw was that the people who were involved in Charlottesville, the neo-Nazis, the neo-Confederates, some of these smaller militias, the Patriot Front, after Charlottesville, they'd sort of disappeared throughout all of the rest of 2018 and 2019. They just went away, and you didn't see them out protesting. You didn't see the Boogaloo Boys in their camouflage or their Hawaiian shirts and all of that stuff. People thought that they really had gotten chased and had gone. Yeah. And what I noticed was by summer of 2020, the George Floyd summer, they had come back. But they were inside of massive crowds of armed men and women who weren't part of the Oath Keepers, the 3% militias.
Yeah, because they were the feds.
Yeah.
That's what he's
saying. This is the net widening, that we're not just focusing on these militias and these groups or whatever else. If you're even out there.
Yes. Your problem.
Right. And the reason why I can identify with this from the quote unquote so-called black side is that this is how they start looking at if you're even on the block, or if you're even out this time of night, or if you're even
driving,
hanging in the park, or whatever.
Driving. Come on, say it, Mo. Driving while black.
It's whatever, and it's whatever we deem. It's just like with the Black Lives Matter riots or rallies, whichever lens you're looking through it from. If we say it's okay to be out there, you can be out there. You can do whatever we allow you to do. But as soon as you're out there unsanctioned, what they call them in Baltimore, thugs.
Yeah.
So it's not even about behavior or anything like that. It's about what we sanction. And you being out here associating with these groups, we're widening the net. It's getting very wide.
Same playbook.
Number 11.
Good example is there was a protest in Louisville, Kentucky. And it was a peaceful protest. And people were just marching downtown, going out to the riverfront. And there was at least 150 armed camouflage people with their AR-15s confronting them, getting in the faces of people. And I was like, whoa, that is not the usual 5 extremely fat guys that I'm expecting to see. This is 150 fat guys and their fat wives.
Yeah.
With AR-15s. And, well, I make that little joke, but it's a fact. It was becoming this family affair. And these people were not 3% militia. They were new militias, state militias, groups that were forming themselves, these patriot defense leagues of people who were self-appointing to go out and defend places that they weren't asked to ever come to. Perfect example, Kyle Rittenhouse.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah. Yeah, fat white guys and their wives. Wow.
And this is coming from, he lives in the bubble of you can't call people fat. Exactly. I don't, that's what fat shaming.
Yeah.
But if you're shaming orange people, go right ahead. Just like this whole thing with intelligence. Say, for instance, they are dumber. Then you're an ableist, right?
Yep.
Right? You know what I'm saying? That you're mocking them for their mental capacities. You sound like a real ableist. But it's
in the context of
sanctioned.
orange, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay in the context of orange.
Yeah, in the context of non-white people, it's okay. That's what I'm saying. Orange is being demoted down to the position of persons of color. Just like I said about when liberals used to call Kanye Kanye. Mm-hmm. It's like, you can do it. Like, we give you the green light. But it has to be sanctioned. And this is bigger than just jokes and everything else. They're about to ratchet it up if people don't understand what's going on here.
And people don't understand. And this is what's interesting. Because I until, of course, you remind me, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. But I don't even see it this way. Or it's good that I'm being jarred awake again. That this is a true color thing.
All right, so let's go ahead and he's still ramping it up. Let's go to 12.
Well, actually, I think it's 11.
Excuse me.
Yeah, 11. Yeah, okay.
Right?
11,
Kyle Rittenhouse was not a militia member. He was not part of any of these, Biden resistance organizations. This had turned into almost a social event. Yeah. To where they were like, get your AR-15 and come on out. And we're going to do there's this phrase they like to use called Koreans on the roof. Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
During the LA riots for Rodney King, when they had the fighting, some Korean merchants stood on the roof of their buildings with AR-15s, and nobody attacked the buildings. And that has become a white supremacist icon, which is rather ironic.
Yeah.
But the icon of the Koreans on the roof, we will stand with our rifles and defend and shoot you. But the reason I'm describing this event is these were not the groups you were expecting. Those groups had now become a small part of a very large militia movement that I can describe in 2 words: Trump voters. And that all of those disparate groups had now melded together with Trump voters and were now coming out, bringing arms to counter protest or do whatever they were going to do, defend things. Orange!
Exactly it, man.
Am I exaggerating now?
No, you're not exaggerating. It's right down to the color.
Trump voters.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't even go as far as to say you have to be a voter. Anybody that agrees with anything he says, anything, what's Greg Greenwald or whatever his name is,
Glenn Greenwald.
Glenn Greenwald, all those, anything, Russia was a whole, anything that Trump agrees with, you agree with, you're in that group.
Yeah.
Which this is why it interests me, other than I see people about to get mistreated. And, injustice, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to see anybody mistreated. But what I also see is anything heterosexual, anything.
And you got to throw Christian in there.
Big time. Oh, that's that's automatic.
Yep. Which is
that's
now
automatic.
Which is
Christian,
now Christo-fascist. Christo-fascist.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, so it's all in there. Yeah, well, exactly.
So you have a counterintelligence person saying anybody identified with a presidential candidate is the orange jihad.
It's a terrorist, which now, of course, has been codified as such by Department of Homeland Security with their latest security briefing. And they're going after LGBTQ. That's what they're after. They're going to go kill them. Okay.
And that's why we did the BIE show. The Black Identity Extremists. That was the test. They always do the beta test on us.
Yes.
We're the beta test. They refine it, and then they move on to, putting it into full action.
You've been so right, because you said this almost from show number 1. Maybe it was show number 1. You said, no, Adam, they start with us. Then they're going to go out. They're coming for you.
Mm-hmm. Because they're going to, as I mentioned before, They'll get it down to 10%, and then they'll do 10% of that 10%.
Yeah.
It's constant. Yeah. It's constant refinement, and what brings this about, the speed of it now, is that we don't need as many people anymore. We have AI, which just as a little quick, just as a quick pivot, AI, when people need to look at AI like another country. What I mean by that, like how America in the 80s looked at China.
Actually,
I think
it was Japan. We looked at Japan that way.
Well, whenever we went to China and said we can get all this cheap labor, that's how they're looking at AI. We could replace all these jobs, all this, all this labor, we could replace it with cheap labor. Just more servers. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So what do you do with the leftovers?
You kill them.
Yeah. You got to kill them before they reproduce. That's the goal.
Yes.
Kill them before they reproduce. And I know that sounds
no. This is very interesting. Let me ask you a question, Mo.
Mm-hmm.
In your experience, do you, and forget about men, because men is a different issue. Mm-hmm. Is there a huge Black American girl trans issue?
It started with us. Hello.
Right. With like Beyonce, If I Were a Boy.
We even just take a look around. That's why it was, for lack of a better word, it was a stud thing. The Brittany Griners of the world.
Right. Okay.
That's where it started. We this is 10 years out for us.
Right. But it's already ended for you.
No, it's
still going.
This is what Black Lives Matter came out of. That 10-year incubation period resulted in Black Lives Matter. Now it's that gay is just normalized on the black side to where you can take a 14-year-old boy like Dwayne Wade's son and do it right out in public, and nobody says nothing on the black side, or very few people in the media. Let me say that. Let me clarify that. And this is where even with the black side, the media has parted away from the masses.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, I mean, and like I said, it's been over here.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks, because we got it now.
Like I said, it starts with us. Two things I'm sure about this show. It starts with us, and we leave. We open the door, and we left holding the door. Those two things are
yeah. Yeah. What was the other one? The other one was it was Beyonce, If I Was a Boy. And
Beyonce, Jesus, Michelle Obama.
There was another one that was what's her name? It's going to come to me in a minute. I
think
Ciara.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like a Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was really influential.
It goes deeper than that, man. Like even with The Wire and Snoop, that's a good example. How long was The Wire ago?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And you had Snoop walking around as a male, identify as a male, and that's what I'm saying. It was normalized then. Nobody was tripping on her on The Wire about her being that way. So it's been over here for a minute.
Wow, man. Okay.
It only gets worse. Not from your perspective, but the propaganda only gets worse.
Got it. Okay, let's go back.
Sorry to bum you out.
No. Let's go back to Malcolm Nance, because that's funnier.
All right, let's go.
Now, how did they get from that law and order society? How did they get from the thin blue line, we love all cops?
Right.
This is where they have invented their own narrative. And that narrative is, we love you till the moment you get in the way of white people and what they want.
Stop.
And then you are
listen to what he said. Back it up again. This is what I'm talking about. That double talk, that double speak. Who are the pronouns here? I mean, no pun intended, but who are you talking about?
Let's listen.
And that narrative is, we love you till the moment you get in the way of white people and what they want.
Orange, black, white.
You can hear it the other way, though.
Yes.
Because that's actually what they're doing. Like how they're pushing the trans and the woke and everything else. That's coming from white supremacy. That's a global idea. Yeah. No borders, everything. That comes straight from the one world government. And it's, if you get in the way of what we want, that's what I'm saying. If you could hear it two different ways, what he's saying, or I can at least. Mm-hmm. But I understand what he's saying. Like the orange people are saying this, but it's what you saying. What are you saying, Dutch?
Wat je zegt ben jezelf met je kop door de helft. What you say I am is what you are yourself. Projection.
That's him. That's what he's actually doing here.
Let's listen again.
And that narrative is, we love you till the moment you get in the way of white people and what they want. And then you are an instrument of the state. You're an instrument of the Zog, right? The Zionist occupation government. And you, all of these
they really pack in the anti-Semitism, the racism, the misogyny. I mean, they're an efficient bunch.
Everything I had ever learned in the history of terrorism, in extremism in the United States, from the Nazi revival in 1935 here in New York State, where they actually had a town where all the streets were named after Hermann Goering and Adolf Hitler. And then the America First movement that had their Nazi rally in Madison Square Garden with a giant wall poster of George Washington on one side and Adolf Hitler on the other side and Nazi swastikas everywhere. And it was packed. All of this is having a revival.
Now, he's not wrong. Mm-hmm. About that. We've been through this, the eugenicist movement, but it was Democrats, brother. I'm just saying, if you want to pin a party on it, you can't say it was Republicans. You can't say it was orange. It's a sad fact of American history. No, please go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm willing to bet if you ask Malcolm Nance about the Bush family and Prescott Bush and IBM and Henry Ford, he would sing a different tune. It's always pointing down to the masses. Oh, the masses are the problem. Who rented out Madison Square Garden? Can we figure that out?
Do you know?
Have that rally. We need the name. No, I'm saying that's what Mr. Intelligence. You know what I'm saying? What family was behind that? And this is the thing. It's like they see what's going on, but they have been so indoctrinated. And this is the boule. This is the let's get all the smart black people and bring them and put them in Ivy League schools, and we can shape the way they think, and they'll speak for their people. And this is why it's the same way it's happened on the orange side. Mm-hmm. Between orange people and quote unquote the white supremacists, or wherever you want to look at it, it's happening on with the black elite and the black, what I call the black thumbs. You have an article and then you read the comments, and the comments are full of things against the article. So they're not even representing what the true sentiment is.
Well, the sad thing is that what they don't realize, and man, it's so close to what we're seeing now, so close to 1930s Berlin, where there was huge transgenderism, flamboyant gay movements and clubs and all kinds of stuff. And it was truly what the Democrat Party and what Malcolm Nance is preaching. They are becoming like the National Socialists, the Nazis, without even realizing it, by calling the opposition the Nazis, but they are actually the Nazis themselves. What they are doing, the vax, you're not a human being. You're below a human being if you refuse the vaccine. If you refuse the vaccine, that's the sad thing, is they don't even realize that they're becoming that. They are the ones becoming it. That is the true. Wat je zegt ben jezelf met je kop door de helft. This is actually the Friends of New Germany. Mm-hmm. Who they're the ones who rented out and did this rally in Madison Square Garden. This is all people from Chicago. So you tell me.
And who are they now? They never get to that point, because I bet you the people that were calling the shots then are still calling the shots now from these foundations and institutes. Well, right now, it's the same
Planned Parenthood.
mentality.
Planned Parenthood is an offshoot of the American Eugenist Association. society, I should say. Right. And okay, so we all can see who's all behind that and behind abortion and as you point out, medical what do they call it? Essential transgender care. They even have nice soft words for it. Come on, it's obvious.
But I'll say to those people that's getting, I don't want to say sucked in. The people that they think they're helping, they're not really helping you.
No.
They're giving you transitional surgery so you don't reproduce because they think you're too dumb to go to the next generation.
Correct.
Everything leads to that way. It is two groups. Another thing I always say, there's two groups of people in this world. The more people group and the less people group.
Yeah.
And they're elites on both sides of that coin, because if you have commodities, oil, corn, sugar, electricity, you want more people to sell more stuff to them. But when you're on the tech side, it's like, no, we can consolidate.
Yep.
We don't need all these people around. So what are they going to do in their free time? Let's first of all, we got to rob them of their reproductive organs. That's all, or give them birth control, or give them access to, to family choices, as they call it, whenever, because we just don't want to produce it anymore. And here's the thing. Here's the sick thing about it. The people that are pushing back against this and saying, no, like I told you that before, to shut up, eat your steak.
Yeah.
Those people, we want you around. You're productive. You're effective. It's going to be rough now.
Yeah,
like boot camp.
The winners.
It's going to be rough.
Right. Hey, you're a winner. Okay, we want to keep you. Hey, you didn't fall for it. Good one.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't take the vax. Good. We want you. Good.
Right. But you have to shut up. And here's the, you have to be complicit. Now, here's where me and you, I would assume, don't fit in their plan, because it's like, y'all just won't shut up with you. You're gonna tip off the mouth breathers over there.
We're problematic.
No joke.
Yeah, we're problematic for sure.
Because I can't stand by and know something and not say something. It's like, that manhole cover, it's gonna fall through if you step on it. I gotta let you. I feel obligated to let you know. It's an obligation for me.
We love that about you, Mo.
So what's going on here? And I love y'all too. I honestly do. What's going on here? They got to go to Neely Fuller, and this is what he talks about, the refinement stage, number 14.
In some places in the world, the refinement stage is very prevalent. It's not overt at all. In fact, the black people in some parts of the world will say racism. Oh, that we had that a long time ago, but we don't have anything like that around here now. It doesn't exist. I mean, we hear that there are some problems in some other places, but not here. So that means that white supremacists are very refined in covering it up in that particular place. That's all that means. And that's the refinement stage. But in other places, there's many white supremacists are saying, hey, the refinement stage calls for too much acting. We have to act like we are, embracing these people, these dark-skinned people. And it calls for too much acting, and since it's artificial, I'm tired of acting. So I'm saying, let's go back to the old ways. Just push them off the sidewalk. Tell them to get to the other side of town, shoot them, beat them up, tell them we really don't care for them like we really feel. In other words, just express your real feelings and stop trying to pacify them and placate them and be friends with them. And it's just too much stress and strain.
What's really interesting, and what this clip reminds me of, and we saw this coming in the Netherlands, one of the most calm, kind of liberal places, used to be. They have now pushed so hard, it came through the whole Black Pete movement, which has been going on for almost 10 years now. Finally, they're opening up a slavery museum. Because, guess what? The Dutch were actually the ones who transported the slaves, and now they're shaming everybody into submission which was never a thing. In fact, black and white was so not an issue in growing up in the 70s in Holland. And now they've done the same thing they've done here.
That's the refinement.
Yes.
And the whole thing we're talking about is these companies that say they're your friend, they're actually giving you the poison.
Yeah.
But it's the other side that says, no, we need to stop acting. Let's go for it. And I think, like, from my perspective, I think the ruling class are Fabian socialists.
Oh,
they
totally.
want gradual, persistent progress. It's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You know, you're still 1 step forward,
yes.
But they make it appear like, oh no, we're going backward. We're refining.
Now, explain what you mean by Fabian, just so everyone understands. That you go pass by that real quick.
No, the Fabian socialist is this ideology is long as they're socialists, but they're not like Hitler. Hitler was like the other side of refinement. That we're going to come in with boots and tanks and we're going to force this identity on you. The Americans, I would say, was more of your Fabian socialists. Like, you know, how Henry Ford did it and IBM did it.
Yes.
It's just business. It's just business. Don't worry about it. It's going to be all right. And it creates this lens of, take, for instance, going from oil to lithium power.
Mm-hmm.
They say it's good for the planet, but there's little black children, or so-called black children, hand-picking lithium out of mines. and it shapes this thing of like, oh, I don't see that. I just see the good I'm doing for the planet. And it's like, how can you not see it's readily available? But hopefully I explained that correctly. You have fascists and hardcore nationalist socialists on one side of it, and it's all about force and pushing. And on the other side, it's like this uniparty of is this gradual progress.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody say it's like straightening teeth. You know what I'm saying? It's very gradual. So I hope I explained that.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good one. Yeah.
So let's go back, and this is show 85, Overman. He speaks on what white supremacy actually is versus what they want it to look like.
White people collectively are the smartest people in the known universe. How you like that for apples? Okay, to a group like this. See, sitting here among all these African books and whatnot. And among the white people are the white supremacists, and they are smarter than the white people who are not. And they are also the most powerful. And also, white supremacy is the most powerful religion that this world has ever seen. Nothing matches it. Not Islam, not Hinduism, Judaism, Voodooism, none of it. Confucianism, none of these religions match the religion of white supremacy. Because that's what white supremacy means. It means supreme. It doesn't mean 4 carloads of skinheads riding down the street shouting, nigger this and nigger that. The white supremacists would have you believe that there go the white supremacists. But the number is not very large compared to the number of black, brown, red, and yellow people on this planet. But they are still the most powerful people in the known universe at this particular time. And the smartest, because you can't be dumb and run a package like white supremacy on anybody this long.
Yeah, I love Neely Fuller Jr. I think the most important thing he's doing here is his pronunciation. We should probably do that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say white supremacist. He says white supremacist. I think that's important. It's a small
so you hear
distinction.
The supreme
so
word.
You hear the supreme. Yeah, I think that's really important. And he does that consistently, not because he's an old coot. He does that intentionally. Supreme.
Everything he does is intentional.
Yeah.
And but that's the whole point of the code, is that what we learned from the last show, if it's not constructive, stay away.
Yeah.
Everything we do should be intentional and striving for justice. I mean, and that's how every episode, me and you could come up and have a wonderful conversation easily. You know what I'm saying? Probably 2-3 times a week. But it's the point that I see something and I had to get the evidence, because if you say, oh yeah, they're trying to turn, orange people, to color people, and without the evidence, it doesn't hit the same. You know what I'm saying? It's not as constructive.
Right.
And now when you go back and listen to James Carville talk, who's really the white supremacists? Supremacists.
Okay,
yeah, you convinced me.
I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to start doing this everywhere. Supreme. I'm going to correct news items. It's supremacist, not supremacist. Supremacist.
I wonder if that's intentional to change the soften it.
Yeah, of course it is.
That would be refinement. That's a
refinement by itself.
It's a fractal.
Yes,
of
it is
a refinement.
It is.
No. You can't say supreme. Nothing that'll throw them off. Wow, I didn't think about it like this.
Yeah. I'm. That's going to be my new thing. Supremacist.
Because they. That's their mentality. We are supreme. We know best.
And, we don't say Diana Ross and the Supremes. Come on now.
That's true. So speaking of the supremacists or alleged supremacists, George W. Bush. Now I want you to listen to this clip, and this goes to show you, I think, just the mentality of it. And this is, I don't care.
I'll never apologize for the United States of America, ever. I don't care what the facts are. I will lead her. I will do my level best to stand up for freedom and democracy around the world by keeping the United States of America strong and by keeping our eyes wide open as we welcome change in the world, but keeping our eyes wide open.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll never apologize, no matter what the facts are.
Yeah, isn't that great?
And yeah. I believe that's what we're going to hear when all this truth come out about the vaccine.
Yeah,
that's going to be, Hillary Clinton hit it another way too. I don't care how we got to this point, or she said it's something to
at what point? Paraphrase. At what point does it matter?
Right, that's their mentality.
Yeah.
In Iraq, we did that, and Afghanistan, and Vietnam, and we lied about it, and false flag, and we knew about Pearl Harbor, and it's this supreme mentality that I'm above apologizing, even if I'm wrong. I don't care. It's your problem. Deal with it.
There you go. And I would say Papa Bush, definitely white supremacist.
George H.W. Bush is probably the closest thing that we had to American king since George Washington.
Yeah. Where would you? Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You gonna ask me a question? You said, where would you?
Yeah, I was going to say, where'd you put Reagan?
He ran Reagan.
That's true. That's true.
Just look at this. Back up, zoom out for a minute, and this is what we had to do. Look at it from JFK, the unfortunate incident that happened to him, to now. Look how much influence George H.W. Bush had on this country. And the reason what made me pay attention was how long the flag stayed half-staff.
Yeah.
I would guesstimate there was a month. And he got on the train. They brought him on the train. And just the influence over Obama and his son and Reagan and what happened to Reagan and who was in charge after Reagan. It's kind of like Reagan is kind of like Joe Biden now. And if that's the case, then George W. Bush's H.W. Bush's mentality is still running this country via the Obama's third term.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely.
I want, and that's the mentality. What? We're not apologizing. I don't care what the facts are.
As long as we get to where we need to be. Yeah, that's right.
Because they feel they have a purpose. And we're going to get to that purpose in a minute, but this is, people saw this coming. It ain't just me. And this is, Pat Buchanan, and from his book, The Death of the West, the full title is How Dying Population and Immigrant Invasion Imperil Our Country and Civilization. He got bars. Let's go ahead and get into number 17.
When Cornwallis's army marched out of Yorktown, the fife and drums played, the world turned upside down. Now our world has been turned upside down. What was right and true yesterday is wrong and false today. What was immoral and shameful, promiscuity, abortion, euthanasia, suicide, has become progressive and praiseworthy. Nietzsche called it the transvaluation of all values. The old virtues become sins, and the old sins become virtues. Sex, fame, money, power, those are what our new America is all about. We are two countries, two peoples. An older America is passing away, and a new America is coming into its own. The new Americans who grew up in the 1960s and the years since did not like the old America. They thought it a bigoted, reactionary, repressive, stodgy country. So they kicked the dust from their heels and set out to build a new America, and they have succeeded. To its accolades, the Cultural Revolution has been a glorious revolution. But to millions, they have replaced the good country we grew up in with a cultural wasteland and a moral sewer that are not worth living in and not worth fighting for.
Wow. Yeah. It's biblical too, you know.
2001.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
He saw it coming from a long way off.
Yeah.
And that the transvaluation.
Yeah, how about that? How about that?
So when we talk about trans, and this is unfair to you, but I hear you talk about the trans thing. One thing they've talked, I've heard you say they dropped gay, right? Now it's pride.
Mm-hmm.
And the real big thing is trans pride.
You remember when it was black pride?
Yeah, but notice it's not transsexual pride.
Oh, yes.
It's
good
just
point.
trans.
Yeah. Trans. You're so right.
Wherever we were at.
Anti-trans legislation. Yeah, you're such a good point, Mo.
So, I mean, you inspired that thought when you were talking about the dropping of words. And I'm looking at that now. Like, let's not look at all the adjectives and things that add to words. Let's look when they start dropping.
They start chopping them up and just using certain little bits of it. Totally.
A good one is asylum-seeking migrant.
Oh, yeah, it's my favorite. And they just dropped all that. Now it's migrant. They just dropped it all.
Right. Mm-hmm. Which should be refugee.
Yeah, correct. Well, what is it called? Those are, I can't. My English button is failing me. But
you see how they expand it to contract?
Yes. Well, this is what George Carlin always complained. Euphemism. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
This is what George Carlin always complained about. You know, it's like used to be you come home from World War I shell shocked. You know, then it was before you knew it, it was post traumatic stress disorder. And then it's just PTSD. I mean, you know, they just shorten until it becomes something, you know, that it doesn't really reflect what it really is. And yes, so we've gone from refugees. Of course, these aren't real refugees. That's why, you know, it's good to shorten it to migrants.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you said New York City is being bombarded with refugees,
oh no,
that hits different. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but that's the legal claim that they're making, right? Is that I'm here in asylum. So
remember boat people? That was another good one.
Correct.
Boat people.
It's just now it's asylum seeking migrant down to migrant, and it's if you don't like migrants, then you're xenophobic.
Yes.
And it's like, no, we don't want to have refugees. One, that's one thing, and then two is you've seen what's happening in Chicago. And now that's the point I'm trying to make is the groups are pulling away. These groups, they melded together. They're pulling at the seams.
Yeah.
Like black people are not quote unquote so-called black people. are not adhering as how they expected.
Yeah. No, there's although I get some other vibes from what's going on there as well. You know, if you look at the South Shore and the residents there coming together, and I'm also getting a little bit of the Wire season 1 vibe in that. Like, you know, you hear some lady who's smart in the back go, I'm not selling. Like, oh, wait a minute. Someone coming in offering to buy your devalued property because of the so-called migrants?
It's funny you say that, because I was yelling at my Bluetooth speaker when you were going over that on No Agenda. But there's one thing you missed in there.
Okay.
Is that in the back, faintly, it's a guy like, you better watch out for that library that's coming.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
The Obama library.
The Obama library, yeah.
Where do you need to build? Where you need to build something like that?
Oh, well, that would be a great spot. Cheap land,
and you're importing the cheap labor.
Yep, we got him right there. You know, my stepdaughter is working for an alderman now. She moved back to Chicago, and they have to wear masks because the migrants they have scarlet fever. They got lice.
Don't worry about it.
Just wear a mask.
I don't care what your facts are, Adam. Woo! Put the mask on.
I'm telling you.
What about the lice?
Yeah,
it'll work fine.
Yeah. Oh man, and you don't hear about that anywhere.
Of course, we don't care what the facts are. I want, and it's another way they put it. Like white supremacy rule. Number one rule is "cause I say so."
Yeah. And
we're seeing that now. Put the mask on.
Yeah.
Why? I thought we were past masks. Nope.
No.
You got to worry about scarlet fever. It's like, what? Scarlet fever? How'd that get here? Don't worry about it. Shut up.
Who cares about facts?
Yeah, no, I don't care about your facts. And that's that clip right there. And just to give people the context of that, that's when they had bombed some kind of facility full of civilians. And they were pressing Bush about it. And he was like, it don't matter. Just like the baby incubators that you always bring up.
Yeah.
It was a lie. Shut up. We don't matter. You know what I'm saying? We're here now.
Move on. What do you mean aluminum tubes? What do you mean anthrax? What do you mean yellow cake? Yeah. What do you mean?
Don't drop that cake.
He's dead now. Paul's dead. Who cares? It's over. It's done.
And it keeps going. So you wonder, how did they get to that point of what he just laid out? And now he explains how we get to the point of this transvaluated society that we have.
A growing population has long been a mark of healthy nations and rising civilizations. Falling populations have been a sign of nations and civilizations in decline. If that holds true, Western civilization, power and wealth aside, is in critical condition. For, like the Cheshire Cat, the people of the West have begun to fade away. In 1960, people of European ancestry were 1/4 of the world's population. In 2000, they were 1/6. In 2050, they will be 1/10. These are the statistics of a vanishing race. Why is this happening? Socialism, the beatific vision of European intellectuals for generations, is one reason. If everyone has the promise of a state pension, children are no longer a vital insurance policy against want in old age, argues Dr. John Wallace of Bologna's Johns Hopkins University. If women can earn more than enough to be financially independent, a husband is no longer essential. And if you can also have sex and not babies, and this seems to be true now of Catholic Italy as it is of secular Britain, why marry? By freeing husbands, wives, and children of family responsibilities, European socialists have eliminated the need for families. Consequently, families have begun to disappear.
Yeah, and the beginning of that clip, he says something which always reminds me of the former New York banker, my buddy there in Austin, who said to me and I'm always looking at the money, who said to me very clearly, America wins. Why do they win? Because unlike China, unlike the European Union, our population is growing. I said, well, wait a minute. We have children who don't want to have kids, kids who are making sure they can't have kids. We have high abortion rate. And he says, that's why the borders are open. And that's it. They don't care about much else.
Correct. That's absolutely correct.
And these people coming in, by definition, don't have families. Not families coming in. You know?
Right. And that's the culture. Like, they want to create the consumer culture. And that's what everybody plugs into when they come to America. And I've seen this with many different groups of people, down to dietary restrictions. Once you get here, you tap into the consumer culture of quote unquote America. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's a Western thing, which I don't think is Western. It's this universal mind, this one world, one set of rules kind of mentality.
The liberal world order, as they call it.
Yes, that's exactly it. And in that order, they have strategies. So now we had to go back how we ended the last show and talk about, we got to remind people again what white sacrifice actually is.
Racial white sacrifice confusion.
White sacrifice?
Yes. Meaning, when you drive down the street and you look out your car window, you see some white people on park benches. You see some white people who are out there barefooted in the wintertime. And you see some white people walking around talking to themselves and whatnot and don't have anything. I mean, and you say, oh, racism is over, because look, if you got white people who are poor, you got white people that don't have anything, you got white people who are suffering, just like black people. So it's not racism. It must be something else. No, the white supremacists operate on a percentage basis. They know that, and they even put in position in the path of danger a certain segment of white people. They'll just pick out white people, so to speak, and just throw them under the bus. This is to distract non-white people to thinking that racism doesn't exist.
Yes.
But they do it on a percentage basis. See, for every 10,000 black people that they kill, they'll kill 10 white people and say, see, it's not about race. I mean, people just out here killing people. That's all it is.
Except the new white people are orange people.
Yeah, but still, it's the numbers game.
Yeah.
It's the numbers game, and this constant white sacrifice confusion, it's ramping up people to feel like they're under attack, appropriately so. And you see them start to lash out or change their mind or way they think about things. And I want to warn people about one thing. This Zoomer class and them after them, there's a super racist tangent, because they've grown up in a world of apologizing. Just, I had to apologize for everything. Even things they didn't do, but that's by design, because then you put them into the mindset of George Bush. I'm not apologizing for crap. I don't care what the facts are. And it's a hardening effect. So let me explain what I'm saying, because I know it's kind of like all over the windshield here. The woke are going to be the new hippies. When this is all said and done, just like the hippies were left holding the bag after Charles Manson.
This is already happening. The woke are going to be holding the bag. Yep.
So what they're doing is a honeypot. Whoever we don't think is supreme, we're going to honeypot you. Come over here. Oh, we got all kind of support groups and everything else and flags. Yeah, we need you. You need a new flag. Here's your new flag, right? Mm-hmm. And so then when it's all said and done, they'll have a, God forbid, a Charles Manson type situation, and then even Jim Jones type situation. Those ruin the hippies.
Oh,
and all the hippies wanted to do.
You can almost predict this happening. You're so right.
Right. And then
they're already being categorized as cult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, you pressurizing, the orange people to either, one, they're going to pop off, which helps to take the guns. So it's like that works. Or they become so efficient and hardened, they get the George Bush mentality. Like, I don't care what the facts were. And you hear people say this when they talk about not even race, vaccines, like let them die. Like the celebrating of people dying that took the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing, that mentality.
You are so right, Mo. This is already happening. I see it around me. First of all, the Zoomers don't care about anything. The hardening there is, I don't care if I'm tracked. Who gives a crap if I'm tracked? I don't care about politics. I don't care at all now. But I don't care. I don't care. They went through some of the Black Lives Matter. Now they see that was a scam, so they're like, I'm not trusting in anything anymore. And sadly, what you're also identifying is, instead of going after the system, people are going after the people. So
by design,
yes, So I'm always like, hey, man, if someone in your family like shunned you and they turn around and they say, man, I was wrong, I'm sorry, you need to accept them. But no, I'd say a good 30, maybe 40, maybe even half are saying, no, I'll never forgive them. Never forgive them for what they did. That's a hardening of very scary proportions. Because
when they get mopped up, when you get to mop up the woke, it'll just be, and this is what white supremacy does. Then they'll take the side of the orange people. And it's like, yeah, we want your side. Let's get rid of the woke, like the people were with the hippies. And all the hippies were saying, like, all this conformity, we don't like it, which was true. They had some true points about it, but then the way, like with the woke now, like it's going to rub your face in it. We're just going to rub it, and that doesn't work. And this is how, when you're a supreme minority,
this is how you accelerate your mission. You accelerate it by doing that.
Yes. So I hope I clarify what all this means, or how I take it.
Yeah, I think that's good.
What happens when you say, well, Mo, why do you care? This is kind of like post 9/11, where black people could kind of like fall out. Like, we're still at the bottom, but it's like, the tension's off us right now.
It's crazy guys in the desert. Look at them now for a while.
Right. The reason why I can identify with both sides is the ADOS Black American, actual born in Black America, or lineage still being born in Black America, are the white people of America. No, because listen to what I'm saying. Because like, we're 13% of the population in America, right?
Yeah.
And white people, quote unquote, white people are 13% of the population of the world, 13, 15, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I can identify, like, yes. I know what it feels like to be a minority, because I live in a country where I'm a minority, but so-called white people are the minority of the world.
Correct.
So I can see when you start talking about replacement theory, that hits with me, because like, they're trying to replace me right now. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. They're trying to replace me with every other kind of Black lineage there is in America.
But isn't that also ultimately what the original America is that we feel like we're all Americans and we want to defend America against this, and that truly in our hearts, color is not a color of skin, pigmentation melanin is not an issue.
Melanin has never been an issue until they created white supremacy racism.
Yeah.
See, that's the actual supremacy. The actual definition is there's a hierarchy of races.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in this group, then you're automatically the roles. It's like, just take it for instance, in Britain. No doing of your own. You were born a royal.
Yeah.
You get certain privileges. That's kind of like what white is in America.
Yeah.
Like, you have access to certain privileges. Well, not even privilege, you certain rights, because they give privileges to everybody else. It's your right as being born in that system that you automatically at the top.
Yeah.
Now, what you do with that, now you can lose it. Don't get it twisted. If you get out of line, they have ways of, getting you, give you some act right. And that's what we're seeing now.
Right now.
But,
yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I'm just pointing it out because this is where it takes me to the final clip before the break. Tucker Carlson. This is his tweet that he had. A lot's been going on since Tucker, since we last talked. But let's listen to his tweet and listen to how he may have been radicalized by the media that he works in.
Now, in Tucker Carlson's firing from Fox News, a new text message revealed by the New York Times alarmed Fox executives. Carlson was fired days after the text was seen by Fox's board. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky has the story. Good morning, Aaron.
George, good morning to you. The text message obtained by the New York Times from Tucker Carlson is racially charged, and it does appear to have set in motion both his firing from Fox News and the network's decision to settle with Dominion Voting Systems. Overnight, the New York Times published a text message from Tucker Carlson to one of his producers, sent the day after the January 6th attack at the Capitol. Carlson described a video he had seen in which a group of Trump supporters had attacked someone he called an Antifa kid. It was 3 against 1 at least, he wrote. Jumping a guy like that is dishonorable, obviously. It's not how white men fight. The message continues, I found myself rooting for the mob against the man, hoping they'd hit him harder, kill him. Carlson wrote, I could taste it. Then the message said, an alarm went off. I'm becoming something I don't want to be. The message surfaced as part of Dominion's defamation lawsuit against Fox News. A redacted version appears in public court filings, but the Times reports members of Fox's board of directors became aware of the unredacted version on the eve of trial and were so alarmed by Carlson's views on violence and racial superiority, they took steps to investigate Carlson and settle the case for nearly $800 million. 6 days later, Fox News fired its highest-rated host.
I love it when you do this to me, Mo. I thought I have this one all figured out. Lay it out.
So this whole thing about him watching a video and getting angry, he works in the media, but he's being radical, quote unquote, radicalized by it. And here's the problem. It's okay to be normal in orange, but you can't be elite in orange.
Right.
Like, it was okay for people down in the red states, as they say it, flyover country, middle America. It's okay for them to be orange. But when you have actual elites started thinking with this orange mentality of like, I'm not buying into the system, I don't believe the system, let's start looking at JFK and all the other things that Tucker Carlson start looking at, that's a red flag to them. To say we got blowback here.
We got to stop this. We got to stop it in its tracks, no matter what it costs.
Because he actually has the power to change things. Middle America doesn't. They have single votes and they got their guns.
Yeah,
but
so interesting you bring that up because there were a couple other things that there were some other podcast interviews he did, which I think were even more powerful than this. Although this is pretty powerful. Right. Where he said, I couldn't believe that I was agreeing with the Iraq War. I mean, I said I debated this was a great thing, and he was turning back on that. And without a doubt, Tucker Carlson, white supremacist, without a doubt.
And that's the problem
in that context.
It's coming back. It's like it's blowback. We need to do something about this because. The same way he said about the Iraq War, he lived in a bubble to say you don't question it.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what they did to Rosie O'Donnell and Bill Maher.
Yeah.
It's you don't question it. I don't care what the facts are. And I know this is a running thing, but I have to keep reiterating that point. This is what the establishment, another word for it, this is the talking points.
Yeah.
And then you have people start going back and looking and saying, whoa, like, they've been lying to us. And that's okay. Like, you heard Sarah Palin say that, what? That was 2008? So, what, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
She was saying that. It's okay. She's up in Alaska. She's crazy. But when you have a Tucker Carlson saying that, that comes from, the
Washington elites, of course. Yeah, of course.
We got a problem. Because if he's thinking that way, we might have other people thinking that way. He pulled out 56 million views last night on Twitter.
Did you see it? Because I'm still kind of he was.
I don't know where to put Tucker. I'm be clear. I'm not saying he's acting in good faith. I don't know what their plan for Tucker is. But I saw the actual clip.
Yeah, here's what bothered me. He said, so this whole thing was his whole 10 minutes. Episode 1 was about the dam that the Russians operated that was blown up, broken, sabotaged, whatever. Mm-hmm. And okay, so he's saying the Ukrainians did that, and then he said something really interesting. He said the Nord Stream pipeline. We now know the Ukrainians did that. And I'm like, what? What did I miss? And so I start looking, and he refers to a Washington Post article, which by itself is like, okay, so Washington Post, we trust that now all of a sudden? I look at the Washington Post article, and it says that according to our intelligence, the United States, they knew for about 3 months that Ukraine was targeting the pipeline. And how did they know this? How do we now know this information? How did the Washington Post obtain this information? Wait for it. From the leaked documents from the kid they arrested, who had it on the Discord.
Oh, the 23-year-old, yeah.
Bullshit. I haven't seen it's like this is the perfect thing. Oh, we need a document. We need to explain this. Tell them they leaked the document. I'm still waiting for the big dump of these documents. Where are they? They're not there. It's not true. And so I think Tucker's still in the white supreme camp. He may not even know it, but they got him back in. For him to believe that the Washington Post figured out it was Ukraine because intelligence told him, and intelligence had documents for 3 months. They knew this was happening. How do they know that? From the kid they arrested with the Discord server? Come on.
And you could be in the white supremacist group
without knowing it.
Well, no, not even that, but be on the more people side.
Yes.
Because like you think about the industries, Elon Musk is trying to sell more cars. Mm-hmm. So we need more people to sell more cars to, especially people that can afford it. That's the selective, that's the ideal group they want reproducing. So you could be on one side of that and still be the control. I'm talking about the control, which we always define control as witchcraft.
Yes.
It's we use media to control people. And for another thing, I think Ukraine got.
Come again?
As far as what I mean by that is they're crash dummies. They let America put a battery in their back, and you know how Biden felt about Ukraine before he left there.
Oh yeah, of course.
He said what? You know what I'm saying? He was saying he talked big talk to him.
Yeah, but you're not getting your money. You're not getting $1 billion unless you fire that guy.
And now all of a sudden we're loading you down with weapons and pushing you out up front against Russia to be chewed up.
Yeah.
Everybody know they can't win, so what's the point?
Yeah. Well, there's a number of points there, including new military stuff we got to buy. But on Elon's side, I mean, I've figured his game out. I know his game, and he's a government guy. Subsidies for the cars. His biggest client is NASA, the government. For SpaceX, and he's not been shy about it. He wants to be the most valuable financial institution the world has ever seen. He's renamed Twitter to X.com, exactly what I said, his X.com, his X company strategy. But he's now betting on the new government, which will be the DeSantis money guys and, Wall Street, but I mean, real big money. And I think he will be the rollout of the central bank digital currency or some other controlled financial mechanism. The money. You'll be using X.com for your payments. That, I think, is where he fits
Which
in.
will probably be back some kind of UBI.
Oh yeah. No, that's
what was
all
that thing? The new crypto they want to make, the government-backed crypto.
The CBDC.
They'll backdoor it.
The CBDC. Yeah, that's the idea. No, the whole right. In July, we're getting the FedNow payment system.
Right.
Which is going to allow, especially the unbanked, to have a payment through an app or, direct, not through a bank necessarily, but it'll be directly settled with the Federal Reserve, which is not federal.
What would be
and
great?
that'll be controlled. Yeah, go ahead.
A STEMI.
Of course, no. They can actually they say that right in their documents. When we need stimulus, we won't have to go through this hassle everybody went through with checks being sent out. It'll just show up in your app.
Get your stimmy today. Sign up, and
yes,
people
sir.
will flock to it. And
free money,
and that's
baby.
how I see it.
Free money. Of course, they will print up money that way, and it'll be. We've come up with this revolutionary idea. It's so great. Yeah, we feel that everybody needs some money, just to help you through this tough time with the transitory inflation. Get your $1,000 right now.
Today.
Get your app
or you
today.
can wait for the snail mail. You can wait for the snail mail, but
exactly. Or sign up. Yeah, sure.
Just like the betting apps. It'll say you sign up today, get a $1,000 free bet. That kind of thing. Once they get you in it, now they have you.
Yeah. All the way.
One thing I like your theory, but I still like my guy, Hawley. And the reason why I would say that is he would be the perfect middle ground candidate because he got the orange credentials.
What do you mean? Hawley is what? Hawley is what? You like him as what?
As president. I've always said that.
Okay.
If you knock Trump out, I'm telling you, the orange crowd, the Trump MAGA crowd, they might not show up. They get the uniparty. It's like, nah, I don't know about that. But if you can give them somebody that's got orange credentials, they might show up for him.
Orange cred. Yeah, it's possible.
That's how I just see him.
28 maybe, not 24. I don't think
he just give me Obama vibes. Let me just tell you, he gives me Obama vibes.
I'll take that, and that's noted for sure. I like it.
But that's the first block of the show.
Okay.
I guess we need to get to thanking some people right now.
First, the white man and the black man have to be able to sit down at the same table. The white man has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of that Negro. And the so-called Negro has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of the white man. Then they can bring the issues that are under the rug out on top of the table and take an intelligent approach to get the problem solved. That's the only way that they'll ever do it.
And that is pretty much the way we've been doing it for 91 episodes. We're hitting Moe Factz with Adam Curry, episode number 92. We do have a number of people to thank since, as I mentioned at the top, it's been a hot minute since we've had a show. So let's look at our executive and associate executive producers for episode number 92. Some very now. First of all, we have we
got to make good.
Yeah, make good.
Which one you want to do? The make good first. Let's do the make good first, and then the first one will probably explain the second one.
Okay,
what's going on?
What is this? Is it make good at the top here? What is this one?
The second one, row 3.
Okay, I got it here. Yes, this is Phil Barnett. $1,001, 1001, which is a phenomenal amount of value, highly appreciated. Says, hey, Moe and Adam, Glenn Beck, no agenda, Moe convert here. The keeper found NA from Beck. Oh, nice. His wife found no agenda from Beck and then hit me in the mouth less a year ago. I soon reciprocated by turning her on to Moe Factz. I've been a deadbeat while going back doing the work, listening to all the back catalog while neglecting the more current episodes. Well, don't we have to deadbeat him? Oh, he'll ask for that, I'm sure.
I think he's going to.
Yeah, he does. Just finished episode 51 and heard my wife playing the top of episode 91. Nice. I figured I needed to be deadbeated while the getting is still good. Love you both. Thank you for all the wisdom. Here's $1,000, $10 per episode, plus one for the palindrome fans out there. GBG, please deadbeat me. Kenny Rogers at the cookout. Hold on. Do we have a Kenny Rogers at the cookout?
No, I think that's his the Podverse clip.
The pod. I see.
I'm thinking that's what that link goes to. I'm assuming. Well, so we don't have a Kenny Rogers at the cookout. He hasn't been invited as of yet.
I don't think. I mean, he's had so much plastic surgery. I don't think we can ever invite him to the cookout. Let me see what this clip is. Hold on a second. He's got it here for us.
Who you to come to my cookout? I want to play Kenny Rogers. I guess we do have a Kenny Rogers at the cookout.
Sounds like we do indeed. All right, we got
We have a panel.
And there's your GBG, and of course, deadbeating.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
And wants a little woosah.
Woosah. Woosah. Woosah.
Now I'm pretty sure.
We need to top that off with a big baller too. Whoa,
yes,
whoa.
we do. Hold on a second.
Baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
I want you to know the big baller jingle has now, proliferated throughout hundreds, if not thousands, of podcasts.
That's my mark.
If you look at Fountain, the Fountain app, if someone sends like a more than 100,000 Satoshi boost, you get a little big baller emoji next to it. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing has become something, Mo. You are definitely a big part of the history and the legacy of podcasting 2.0 and value for value. And I'm pretty sure I met Phil because he says, see you at the Nashville meetup. And I remember meeting a Phil, so I'm pretty sure it was him. And we really appreciate that, Phil. This is so nice, man. Thank you so much.
Now that we took care of the big baller, now we got to make good. Because I mean, I don't want her to come after me. Dame Blackhammer.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
Well, let me read the note. Let me read the note. She says, "I'm mailing a check soon as I prefer to donate that way. But in case it doesn't reach you before the next episode drops, I was hoping you would at least mention a happy birthday to Sir C. Mike, my hubby, in whose name I'm making the donation, $150.49, 49 for his 49th birthday. Thanks for all your hard work. We love the show. We'll send somewhat different note with my donation." And so I guess she sent this to the P.O. Box, and what happened there?
They sent the money to the P.O. Box, and the P.O. Box had an issue, which the credit card I had the P.O. Box with expired.
Oh, I know. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Yes,
right, and it's something that is not my normal credit card or debit card or whatever. So you know how you go through it thinking about everywhere it could be a problem, and that would and the guy, this guy, the postmaster. I'm like, why don't y'all take 3 forms of contact? Your email and your phone call. Like, no, we put it in the box so that you know.
Oh, they put it in the box. Yes, they do. I know this. So is that just they got returned? Is that what happened? The check got returned? Yeah,
they got returned, but it's still good. And that answers Andy's question out in Santa Cruz. It's good now. I apologize, like I said, but I apologize more. We missed his birthday, so can we get him some celebration and a biscuit, please?
Yes, you bet.
Celebration, come on, it's a celebration, celebration.
And here's your biscuit.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
Oh yeah, beautiful. Yeah, so. That's Andy and Santa Cruz asked about sending a check. And so is this the correct one? Is it still the same box, Mo?
Yes, the same box is on the website.
We got lucky on that, man, because often they'll give that box away. P.O. Box 614, Culpeper, Virginia, 22701. It's on the website, MoeFactz.com. I did renew the domain names for us. So we didn't screw up on that one.
Small batch bookkeeping is what this is. It's a very shoestring operation. So all right. My apologies. Happy birthday. Happy belated birthday. And I hope that made it good. Guess we move on to Scott Richard.
Yes, we do. And I don't have a note from Scott other than GBG, $1,000. Do you have more of a note?
Nah, all I got is GBG.
Do we have a ballot?
That is so kind, Scott. Thank you very much, both of you. You and Phil, of course, at the top there. And obviously, you also need a big baller.
Baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
Thank you so much. James Lawler, Jimmy James, $200. Jimmy James here. Mo, I know I cannot change another man's decision, especially one this big for you, but I hope that you're able to continue some form of podcast after these next 10 shows, even if you meet with Adam once a month to go over current events. Just 2 perspectives on the same data, where you each just take notes of stories to discuss during the month. It should be easier for you to prep, and at least for me, God willing, I will guarantee $100 a month payment for you, at least for your first year, if you do choose to continue past these last episodes. Maybe give you some incentive to continue on. Either way, I wish you all the best, and I know that God will continue to bless you in all your endeavors. At least I pray he does. And I'll just say, Jimmy James, Mo and I have plans. There's stuff coming. We were just talking about it before this show, stuff that we've been building. Things will change for sure, but we will always be talking, and not always together, but certainly Mo will keep speaking, and we're devising all the avenues for that. Does that cover it, Mo?
Yeah, it's an obligation, like I said earlier, that I have to I just can't stop speaking
out.
It's just, it's the product that we've created here, and you see how much time and effort goes into it. And I didn't want to pivot to something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like a like a bait and switch. So
right.
There'll be more content. There'll be much more for me to say, but hopefully on a faster turnaround time. And I'm not going anywhere. It's the product. The current product is
and even in the new product, I'll be involved. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about it, actually. Oh, but what a tease. Okay. $150 from Michael Kellner says, I've been listening from episode 1. So interesting to hear your recent history from a first-person perspective. Much love. And we say much love to you, Michael. Andrew Austin.
Did we get Magnus?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Magnus Silver?
Mingus. It's probably Mahingus Silver. I'm sorry, I missed him. Also 150. He had no note, but we appreciate it. It's probably, I wonder if it's Mahingus.
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 Yeah, Mahingus, yes.
Well, maybe just Mingus. Okay. Now we're at Andrew Austin, 12345. Love those numbers, $123.45. He says, thank you. Trenton Scoville, $110. No note. We appreciate it.
Melissa was boosting with PayPal. Or like she had like over 20 donations.
Boom, 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 all in a row.
Yeah.
All right. Melissa.
That's the total it came out at. And I'm not going to read that because I don't know if she wanted read, but we got the note. That's why I left it up. We got the note, Melissa.
Melissa, yes, 103.58 total. Thank you very much. Jacob Harvey, $103.33, magic number. Best social commentary I have ever heard. Listen to every episode and I'm much better for it. Thank you both for putting in the work. I try to pass the ideas along and make sure I have a surplus of blue tarps. Godspeed. Dwayne Smith, $100.45, no note. Same for Kyle Mann, $100, no note. Ryan Tierney, no stranger to the show, $100. Love the show, learning a lot. Tavia Willis, $100, saying, just doing my part to save humanity. Yes, important. Good value. Thank you. Tyler Sumner, $100. Thank you for everything, Adam and Moe. Sarah Fletcher, love the show. You will be missed. Crying emoji, $100. Again, you're not going to miss. There will be things happening. Moe's not leaving our lives. Christine Hines, $100. Wishing you great success and blessings to you and your fam. Love from Baronetta Salty. Amy, this is Dane Slamey in Bastrop, Texas. Hey, Moe and Adam, $100 from her. I'm pre-gaming my show club donation for episode 100. 100. I'll save the bittersweet weepies for a later note. Thank you for all you do. Love you guys. You love yous guys. And Christopher DiBiase, $99, value for value. By the way, how can we continue to support you and follow your work after the end of Moe Factz with Adam Curry? As we just explained, Moe will be very much in our lives. No worries. You'll be able to do that. Josiah Hendrickson, $92.92. And, he's also saying GBG. GBG y'all, to be specific. Take care of yourselves.
We have a panel.
Monardis, this is Chris, but I'll just say Monardis & Co. LLC. Moe, that's 9101. Moe, you opened my mind to a new way of storytelling of which you are brilliant. Love your perspective. Thank you and Adam for creating this body of work. And that is exactly what it is. It's a body of work that will never go away and can always be supported from any Podcasting 2.0 app. Remember that. We have 8008 boob donation from an anonymous deadbeat, which we will now de-deadbeat. Of course, anonymous. Thank you.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
Appreciate that. We have Matthew Weaver, $60. Appreciate it. Kenneth Piero, $55.77. These are, of course, our associate executive producers as we get under 100. Eric Hokel from Deutschland, $52. Thank you, Eric. Christopher Norris with 50. Says, wish I'd given more. The show is great. Just to reiterate, value for value is just that. We can't determine what is a lot of money for you. If this is what you could give, then you gave a lot, and we really appreciate it. A lot of value return. Thank you. Corey Katz, 50. Value for episode 91. Aichi Katagawa, $50. No jingles, no karma. Sir H, as he calls himself. Thank you, Sir H. And Joy Leeds, $50. And we have our final two, Timothy Kiernan, hey, Moe and Adam, $50. With my employment situation looking up, I wanted to thank you for the continuing to record episodes to number 100 while foregoing your new post-vax mandate life along with me and many others. Yes, many people in this situation. Thank you for the enlightenment and the encouragement. Bless you both now and always. Sir Timothy of no fixed title. Thank you, Timothy. And finally, Corey Katz, $50. Can't wait to see what episode 92 has in store for us. Well, you're soaking it right now, Madge. And thank you all so much for supporting us. We do have a couple of boostograms that I'd like to mention in this first segment. Hold on a second. I just need to... Did we do this? Right. Yes, we got it here. We have 60,000 sats from Tavia, who says... Actually, Tavia came in with another 5,000, so 65,000 total. I'm already missing the show, and the party isn't even over yet. My heart sank when I heard the news, but I've appreciated the conversation so much. I'll hold out hope there will be a Moe Factz with Adam Curry resurrection. Until then, looking forward to the remaining goodies. Keep the fire burning, gentlemen. Well, we've said this enough now. Don't worry. Yes. Especially those of you who know how to stream sats, do the Satoshi's game with a modern podcast app, podcastapps.com. You will be able to hear and support lots of Moe, lots of Adam, and I'm pretty sure some of us together. Merlin, 53,733. Thank you very much, Merlin. Sir Michael, 50,000. Moe, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us over the years. Gene Everett, 50,000 Satoshis. Going to miss the show, but I can't wait for these last 9, my brothers. Much love. This ride has been amazing. I'm sure I'll re-listen cover to cover in the future. Again, cheers, my friends. 42,333 from Galteran. Moe and Adam, sorry to hear the show will end, but thanks for all you've done. Hey, Citizen, 42,069, says, God bless. Mark C., 35,000, sad to hear you're in the last 10, but I really appreciate what you two have done here. Justin from Michigan, 33,333. Same from Murray N. So sorry to hear the show coming to end, but you've got to do what you got to do. I do hold out hope things might change before then. Either way, I wish you the best. Thank you. Eric PP, also 33,333. Bubba, 30,000. Darn, man, Moe and Adam, you always light the fire in my mind. Thanks, boys. Gebu, really love your conversation, 25,000. Roa Ducks, 22,222. From Dennis in California, love what you guys are doing. There's Tavia again with 15,000 value for value.
She's all over the place.
Oh, yeah. I Love Sushi, 15,000. I've learned so much from Moe Factz, and I look forward to remaining episodes with great anticipation and thankfulness for your time and effort. Then we have Todd from Northern Virginia, up in your neck of the woods, 11,111. My contribution towards the Moe Unretirement Fund. Perhaps this is just a teacher sabbatical, and we'll see you back in our podcast players in the future. In the meantime, good luck. Oh, yeah, no worries. Clued with 1,987. I only wish I could donate more, especially now knowing that Moe is going to be finishing up the show. I feel like I should save for the 100th episode and donate all the savings as a parting gift. I hope everyone else does the same so we can send the show out with a bang. GBG!
Do we have a ballot?
And 10,000 from Nomad Joe. Best wishes. Loving Moe's content. 10,000 from I Am Mr. Robot. Missed Moe saying things like, well, time to pack up and leave Harlem. That was Moe talking about Scott Adams, yes. 10,000 for Chad F., who doesn't know him. The intro had me scared that this might be the last episode, but Moe, I'm ready to ride off into the sunset with you. Oh, don't ride too far, Chad F. And then we have NMO 5115, 10,000 sats. Thanks, Moe and Adam. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 8,008 boob donations. That does qualify as a big baller. He's up at the top there.
Caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
That is Mr. Ackerman, who always sends a V for the episode, and so he sent in enough there to be a big baller. Well, that's all we're going to do for this break. We really appreciate these donations because you are also really participating in the future of Value for Value, and by doing it in this manner, it's even more appreciated than you know. This is a big deal because this This will be the future. The deplatforming, financial deplatforming, none of that is gone from our lives yet, unfortunately. Value for value. You know how it works by now. If you get any kind of value from this, if you don't get any value, why are you still listening? If you do, turn that around, hand it back in time, talent, or treasure. We love the treasure. You can do that by going to mofactz.com and donating through PayPal or getting a modern podcast app. We kind of recommend Fountain at the moment if you're brand new to it, because you can also earn Satoshis while listening to other podcasts and then send that in your per minute streaming or with a boostergram along with your message. And, of course, you can always go directly to our donation page at mofundme.com, MOEFNDME.com, FUNDME.com. And thank you all very much for supporting Moe Factz with Adam Curry, episode number 92.
Okay, so we talked about a lot about the quote-unquote elite, one world government, what their plan is. Now I want to look at their vision, and this is Thomas Sowell back in 1995 from the think tank, and he talks about the vision of the anointed.
Tom Sowell, why don't you start out and tell us what the vision of the anointed is about? What is it?
Well, it's a vision that the problems that we see in the world are due to the fact that other people are just not as bright or as compassionate as they are. And that there are all these solutions out there waiting to be discovered, and that they have them. And that these solutions are to be imposed upon the rest of us by the power of government through taxation or in other ways. And what's really crucial about it is that their passion is so much greater than the passion on the other side, largely because what they have involved is more.
Who is the they?
Oh, the media elite, the academic elite, political elites. And the reason we can talk about their vision, even though they obviously vary in their opinions, is that the basic set of underlying assumptions about the world are very similar. And because these assumptions are the prevailing assumptions, the need to find evidence for them or to offer proof is much less.
The white supreme.
They, and this is what we keep saying, they. And it's amazing how up until recently, that actual term, white supremacy, was not used.
No. Just the media elite and
what's the other one? The establishment, what was the other one? The deep state. That's another term for it. The political. What was the other one? The
political elite, the educated.
But that system that, it doesn't matter who the president, who the politicians are, we have this system in place that safeguards democracy. That kind of thing is we didn't elect these people. It's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We just run things. And we saw that really play out with COVID and the fact that who told you to do that? Well, that's what they said do.
Yeah.
And everybody was going up the ladder saying that's what they said do. And now you have people at the ground level interfacing with patients. And they don't know why they're doing what they're doing. They're just doing it because they're told to do it.
Yeah.
So that's the vision of the anointed. And you heard him say they. And I think the reason why I use that clip was that's a good definition of that. That's the outer guard. It's like, that's the public facing guard. Now, who's pulling the strings on the back end? We hardly ever hear about them. So now I'm going to let Thomas Sowell go a little bit deeper, but I think this is the clip where he stopped short, but let's find out.
Let me go back to that idea of who the they is. In your cosmology, are these liberals? Is that what they are?
Yes. You have the New York Times, the Washington Post, Harvard, Stanford, the Edward Kennedys, all the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more than those particular people because this mindset goes back at least 200 years.
Who does it start with? What is?
I don't know where it starts, but you can find it in the 18th century. If you read William Godwin, Inquiry Concerning Political Justice in 1793, you have the whole vision laid out just as it was in the 1960s. But the 1960s were a crucial point because that's when this vision became dominant.
This sort of arrogant vision that we know best.
Oh, yes.
And don't even have to subject it to normal forms of proof.
Oh, absolutely not.
back to the 60s again.
The hippies.
Yeah, interesting. The ex-hippies, the hippies who made it out alive. Which hippies?
Well, the elite hippies.
Oh.
The ones that went on to be college professors and write best-selling novels. And a good example is William Ayers.
Okay. Yes.
The Weather Underground.
Yeah.
He gets out of jail, no problem. You can go and kick off the presidency campaign for a president. Go for it.
Yeah.
What was the other lady that was linked in with Black Lives Matter? I forget her name now, but she was part of the Weather Underground or had some kind of affiliation with it.
Yeah.
We just know she exists. We just know she exists, and the fact that don't worry about what my past was. That Hillary Clinton thing, I'm gonna have to clip that. Doesn't matter how doesn't matter how we got here.
Susan Rosenberg,
I believe that's it.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
But I'm just saying, you go and look at these people past, and you're like, how are they getting these positions at universities, whatever? They're sticking to the script, and they're the actual elite hippies.
Yes.
And elite is elite. It's just that they take both sides of the coin. So this bringing up the hippies thing again, because I want to do a little etymology right quick. Hippie comes from the word hip.
Yeah.
And that comes from the beat nut, and the jazz scene. Mm-hmm. Like, are you hip? And hip is just another word for being aware.
Correct.
Or seeing what's going on, which is nothing but being woke.
Yeah. Being in with it, on board.
Right. So I'm just saying, like, woke means the same thing as hip.
Interesting.
I actually looked that up because I want to know where the actual word hippie came from. But this is from Mad Men, one of my favorite shows all time.
Yeah.
This is Don Draper actually talking to some hippies.
Toothpaste doesn't solve anything. Dacron sure as hell won't bring back those 10 dead kids in Biloxi.
Neither will buying some Tokay wine and leaning up against a wall in Grand Central pretending you're a vagrant.
You know what it's like to watch all you ants go into your hive? I wipe my ass with the Wall Street Journal.
How come every time we have a party, the ladies have to sit and listen to the men talk?
My God, stop talking. Make something of yourself.
Like you?
You make the lie. You invent want. You're for them, not us.
Well, I hate to break it to you, but there is no big lie. There is no system. The universe is indifferent.
Man, why'd you have to say that?
The cops. You can't go out there.
You can't.
Interesting choice of scene here.
So this is set the scene where I did poorly. He's visiting one of his flings, and she's an artist, and she's down in, I think, Soho or somewhere
in the village.
Greenwich Village. Yes, excuse me, that's right, Greenwich Village. And they're smoking pot and then they're pontificating and whatnot. And the cops are outside, and they have this back and forth conversation about the system, if it really works or not. Which that's the big lie, that the system doesn't exist. But it actually does.
Sure.
But you'll hear a lot of people stop short, even
Sowell,
Thomas Sowell, to say, well, is it intentional? No, I don't think it's intentional. Or, it's amazing how people are they'll stop. It's a limit to where they'll go with their thought. No, it can't be a system. It's got to be a coincidence. That kind of thing, that all this plays out this way. And then the scene ends with Don Draper, who is sharply dressed in his corporate attire. He says, the hippie said to him, "You can't go out there." He says, "No, you can't go out there."
Exactly.
And that's the whole point. Like, even all these people that were peaceniks and everything else, these are the main people that are supporting all the wars, Ukraine and whatnot. We even seen the people that were against even the Iraq war now are for Ukraine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you want to exist in this world, in their world, in the elite world, it's a certain things that you're going to have to bend to.
By this token, Mo, do you think that elections really matter, or do you not? Or do you think that it's all predetermined and however it's done, but whoever's supposed to be next is next?
I think it's a suggestion box.
Voting is a suggestion box. I like that.
and what makes me think that is, like, look at the second Bush and Al Gore. Like, people are like, we don't want Bush. And they were like, nah, we got too many plans. We got some plans for 9/11, 2001.
Yeah.
And Al Gore is not in those plans. So but if it's milquetoast between like say a Romney and an Obama, whatever, they're both our guy. It doesn't really matter. We'll give the people what they want.
Right. There's back to your uniparty. Yeah.
So that's how I think about it. And because I'm not one of those people like nothing matters or whatever. No, the reason why I'm bringing all this up is the only thing you can change is yourself. This is why I keep going back to the 7 habits. We had to become effective.
Yeah.
This is not a doom and gloom kind of thing. This is I'm surveying what the situation is, and I'm just sharing what I think it is. So now let's go back to soul, and this is what I mean by the stopping short. And I think I hate to do this before the clip, but I think they do this because when you start talking like Tucker Carlson was talking, you saw what happened to Tucker Carlson. So everybody knows the gun line, and I'll explain the gun line on the other side of this.
Let me read you something that Speaker Gingrich wrote in his book, To Renew America. He said, since 1965, there has been a calculated effort by cultural elites to discredit this civilization and replace it with a culture of irresponsibility that is incompatible with American freedoms as we have known them. Mm-hmm. Do you buy that? Is that basically what you're saying?
Yes, although I would limit that to those who are sort of at the top of this kind of thing. Because further down, the people believe things because so many others believe them, because they're in the air and so on.
But, I was particularly interested in what he said was that it is a calculated effort. Do you believe that the people, the anointed, as you call them, are sitting around in a conspiratorial mode, calculating, as Newt Gingrich says, and saying, here's what we're going to do? Or do you just think they're wrong and this is what they believe and they have this certain arrogance about it? Because it's two very different ideas.
This is why I made the distinction between the leaders and the others. I mean, I think that when people say things like, more American wives are battered on Super Bowl Sunday, you see, than any other time of the year, and there's not a speck of evidence for that. That is calculated, because there is no data that can even be misinterpreted that way. In other words, because there is no data, period. And so, yes, but I think that 99% of the people who believe it are not calculating.
Mm-hmm. Here's how I would say, because for sure my family, parts of my family were white supremacists, not that they would ever say they were. And they were hip to the message, and the message would literally come through New York Times, Washington Post, later Atlantic, it's PBS, NewsHour. This is where it's communicated, and you're just on board. Newsweek at some time, but no longer. But Time Magazine, Newsweek certainly. Newsweek was definitely the white supremacist weekly communication vehicle. I think that's how it works.
No, I agree. I agree with you. The key, my point is the intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything that's happening intentional.
Yes.
You know, but the elite won't say it, because when you go out on that limb, it's kind of like when you went to the store without your mask on for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's. I don't know about that. I don't know about this, because I have a good life. Not me, but I'm putting myself in their shoes. I got a good life. I know that look kind of wonky, but is it really worth the risk to push back?
Right.
But if you get everybody to start thinking like this, that's how you get the hive mind.
Well, that's the capture. I mean, right. That's what cancel culture was about, because people are so captured by their financial situation, credit card debt, mortgage debt, just you're captured. You can't move left or right. You have no savings. You're afraid to do anything, say anything wrong, especially if you're a doctor. Oh man, I don't lose my insurance. Don't want to be canceled from the medical board. That's the capture. Teachers. What? You don't want your pension?
And I'll go even all the way up to the billionaires, because you can be a billionaire, but you can be like Trump. You're on the wrong side of being a billionaire. It's that you don't get invited to these functions and whatnot.
Yeah.
Look at Trump. When he was pro-Democrat, he was getting all the weddings and everything. Like, it was a little wonky, but like, we invited him. But as soon as you stop towing the line, the invitation stopped.
Including the PGA golf tournaments, no longer at his country clubs.
Right. Or you can't get your favorite table in the restaurant that you used to get. You're sitting by the bathroom, even if you can get in.
Yep.
And like as you said with the Sarah Palin book, that look that you got.
Exactly. That was the look. Like, who are you?
Yeah. Whoa. Like, you're way off base here.
Yeah.
And that is a form of lying, because they know better. Like, because we know that they know better, because most PhDs, or I'm not saying most, they had the lowest vaccination rate according to reports.
Yeah.
So they knew what was going on, and they had the liberty to say, "Nah, I write books for a living. I don't need to
go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm good."
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not going to take it, but I'm not going to tell anybody else not to take it. And that's the, that's the weird spot. And then that's when they lie. They say, "Well, it can't be intentional. It can't be intentional."
Yeah.
And it's a little white lie, no pun intended, but it is what it is. It's still a lie. So I wanted to define what a white lie was. And this is white lies versus fibs.
A white lie. Okay, a white lie is a lie that's told in order to be polite, in order to not upset someone by telling them the truth. So I told a little white lie. I'm not sure about white lies though, but a white lie, you just lie in order to save somebody's feelings. A white lie is normally about something that's not very important, and you're being polite or being kind. No, I think you're saving yourself the embarrassment of telling this person the truth. So a white lie, a harmless, trivial lie that is told in order to be polite, to avoid hurting someone's feelings, to avoid them being upset by the truth. Let's see, a white lie is considered... A lie is considered white if it's for the greater good, if it's good for the society to tell this lie so that society believes it. Yeah.
Oh, I love this, because the one thing he does, maybe touches on it later, but white lie. Why isn't it a black lie? Why isn't it a red lie?
That's a whole nother can of worms.
Well,
is that terminology? Yeah.
But in this context, a white lie is usually told by white supreme.
But for what reason? To not hurt your feelings.
Yeah, not hurt your feelings, but also to not embarrass me, the white supremacist. I like it.
So here's the biggest white lie there is. Once again, no pun intended. This is Neely Fuller talking about what white people fear. And I think this next two clips, if we can start having this conversation, then we can make so much headway in removing the awkwardness around the conversation about race.
Dr. Welshon dealt with the genetics and the fear of genetic annihilation.
Correct.
And that could be correct. I mean, there's got to be a reason. So, I didn't work on that. She worked on that part. I worked on the part of what to do about it.
Yes, sir.
So I said, well, regardless of how my position is, regardless of how it got started, we sit down and we talk with white people, first of all, and try to find out, what's your greatest fear?
Yes.
What are you afraid of? Okay? Now, if they say, hey, we get to mix in our blood with you black people, we will be annihilated. There won't be any more white people. So what we're talking about is preservation of a species. So I'm saying, if black people find this out, and we really come to that conclusion after sitting down, let's just fast forward this right this morning. I mean, let's come to the table on this issue right this morning.
So this is what you said earlier.
Yeah, the annihilation part.
Yeah, the replacement theory.
The whole shebang. It's like the whole everything, segregation, Jim Crow laws, all of that was to keep people separated. But the reason why I identify with that is, once again, white people are the minority of the world. When you break down the two groups, white and non-white, which we all know race in itself is constructed to be that way. But just say, for instance, you got two groups, non-white and white. It's the white people.
Very, very small percentage.
Right, 13%. Now, when you look at American politics and how America works, we're in the same exact position here. And we're looking over our shoulder, looking at the border.
Yeah. Saying, hey, wait a minute. There's replacement of everybody.
Right. But you see where they're shipping them at. And the thing is, and I hate to say it like that, but you're not sending them to communities where they would thrive because they speak the languages of those people. We're sending them there. And if we don't, and just take, for instance, in the interracial commercials, when I see that, I see it the same way you see it.
Yep.
But on a national level, just say, for instance, if that's the goal of Black Lives Matter, whoever, we're just going to bombard them with color until they're no more. Yeah, but you're using me as the crash dummy.
Yeah, and what Neely Fuller Jr. is saying here is, if we could, this is more likely why if you don't vote for me, you're not black, is because we can't have black and white coming together.
Of course not. They have to keep it separated, and that's what they operate out of. And it's funny that we use the word defense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When it's not the proper word to use, it's really offensive. We'll say we're off your coast, you know what I'm saying, with a aircraft carrier for the sake of defense. Huh?
Yes. Yeah.
Or we're going to Ukraine for the sake of defense. And the Russians are looking like, y'all are initiated. And because I'm not taking either side in the whole situation. I'm just telling you what I see. But that white lie is by a lie by omission. And I want to make this very clear that if it scares not you, Adam, or it could be you, that you're going to be annihilated, say it out loud. Let's get it on the table.
Yeah.
You're in. That's why, if, like Muhammad Ali said, and I agree with, if red birds stay with red birds and blue birds stay with blue birds, there's no problem.
Yeah.
But there's power that be that are putting that pressure together, like, oh, his daughter, like TikTok is a great example. They're pushing this interracial thing. on a whole perverse level.
Really?
Yes.
Well, it's interesting because you just used the they word.
Because that's all you can say, because we don't know who they are, because they hide themselves by design.
Yeah.
What can we point at? And that's other than white supremacy, which that's the idea that we are the supreme people of this earth, and this is how earth is going to run.
This is what I like about TikTok, and this may be the reason, one of the reasons why it has to go, is the way, it's a very Chinese algorithm where, we don't create strife and discord. No. You're red, go over here. You're blue, we'll put you over in this bucket. You're trans, whatever, we'll put you in this bucket. You're black, you're hip hop, urban, we'll put you in this bucket. Patriot, white, Trump, MAGA, orange, this bucket. And so it's interesting because, of course, I'm not on TikTok, but like John C. Dvorak, he's clearly complicit with trans, so he gets all the trans videos. He says, I'm pretty sure he has using the app. But what you're seeing is mixed race. So, and that's what's so cool about it is you can drive those algorithms very easily, much easier than I think on any other social network. So, yeah, and that is, of course, driven by they who are pushing that particular message.
Mm-hmm. And at the same time, saying you're not being replaced.
Yeah, of course.
You're not being replaced.
No, not at all.
But who am I going to believe? My lying eyes? That kind of situation. So I see what it is. The same, like you say with the interracial commercials, my eyes roll. And this is not, you love who you love. I always say that. You love who you love. But what is the agenda? This is, now we go back to, is it intentional or not? Is it just a marketing, ploy to say, it's the safe thing to do, but to put an interracial couple because black is represented, white is represented, it's the safe place in marketing. Fine. But let's have that conversation and acknowledge it. Are we talking about racial preservation here?
Well, I can tell you in marketing, it's white lies. It's being hip. It's what we're doing because we don't want to make problems. We don't want to be called out as racist for having too much or too little. Let's just mesh it all together.
Mm-hmm. Till you don't have anything.
Yeah, correct.
So you're not really celebrating the differences.
No.
You're trying to
why do that?
Get a homogenous, mix here.
No, we don't want to do that. No.
Yeah, a nice homogenous brown cake with white icing on the outside of it. That's what they want.
And some Asian eyes. We need Asian eyes. Yeah. That's your total multiculti person of the future.
So but in society itself, that's the way they want the structure. Because when you look at South Africa and other places like that, they still have
they're bringing back racism. They're bringing back racism. They're making racism great again.
We want to talk about South Africa and Japan because there's some very interesting things going on. But let's get back to Neely Fuller and talk about this racial preservation.
Okay. What do we do now since we all, as Rodney King said, stuck here on this planet? All right. And it comes down to one basic question. Does everybody here believe in preservation of a species? Or do we have some species of people who should disappear? That's the issue. Let's make that real clear. And that should be clear in everybody's mind. Every preacher, every school teacher, every sociologist, every psychologist, every psychiatrist, every politician should be on board if that is the fear. If that is the fear. Let's not talk about it in whispers. Let's put this right on the center of the table because we want to get right to the nerve center of what this problem is. And if that's the nerve center, let's talk about it.
There you
Which
go.
we've been doing for 92
That's
episodes.
right. That's exactly what we've been doing.
Which it takes the taboo away. And what comedy does, right? That's why the comedy's under attack. When you start talking about things that remove the taboo from things, then we can actually discuss it in a serious manner.
Totally agree.
So where did this idea of white supremacy come from? I can't really pin it down, but I know a huge contributor, which I recently found out about, Madison Grant. Have you ever heard of him before?
Well, it sounds like I would have, but I couldn't tell you.
Okay, so this is from The Blaze. Now, just keep that in mind. This is from The Blaze TV, and back in 2012. Let's go ahead and get into number 26.
Madison Grant is a very interesting man. He's charming, he's witty, he's erudite. He's the kind of guy you would like to have dinner with. Madison Grant has been largely forgotten by history, but he was one of the most important conservationists who ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
He was also probably the most influential racist who ever lived, and who led directly to the Holocaust. Madison Grant traces his roots all the way back to the original Puritan settlers. His family owned some of the most valuable real estate in the world. He numbers among his ancestors signers of the Declaration of Independence. Madison Grant was as American as an American could have been. Among his closest friends were Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Warren G. Harding, John D. Rockefeller Jr., J.P. Morgan.
Okay. Yeah. I think I probably heard him in the context of conservationist, but thinking more. Yeah, I know, but thinking more like, I don't know, save some animals, something like that. But it seems like there's a little more to him.
It's the same mindset.
Yeah.
That we can do this for animals, we can do it for humans. And they don't really want racial annihilation. I'm talking about hardcore racists right now, according to The Blaze. They don't want, a person like Madison Grant doesn't want racial annihilation. They want to establish racial hierarchy.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you know your place, you can hang around, but don't think about elevating, because what does that do? Now you're in my space. And now I got a whole nother set of problems that I had to worry about. When you used to live across town and you knew where you should be at, no problem. But when you want to be my neighbor, now you're bringing your sons into my neighborhood.
That's an issue. We can't have that.
And this explains Jim Crow and these things. It was
preservation.
It was preservation.
So what you're saying is, big overarching thing here is what is known as racism, which is supposed to be a hatred, the darkening of the soul, just a hatred of some other color, some other person, because you're different, is actually comes from a place of great fear and desperate preservation of one's own self.
Correct.
Okay. This is an interesting dude, because this is very interesting. His mother was a descendant of the Walloon Huguenot, who recruited the first colonists who settled in New Netherland, the Dutch Republic's territory on the East Coast. Back to those slave owners.
Puritans.
Like he comes from. Yes,
listen to the word Puritan, and they try to tell you, it's because they were purity of their religion.
Pure. Yeah. Root word pure.
That always threw me a loop when like the Puritans. Like, what do you mean? But in school they explain it. What? Because they had wholesome, pure beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Which. And I have this is where what puts me in a weird spot. I have no problem with racial preservation. I have no problem with it. But when you start encroaching on other people's rights, that's why I have a problem with it. Because nobody's rights should be encroached upon.
No, you're a big fan of preservation. You want your girls to marry ADOS men.
And it's specifically ADOS men because culturally, they have an understanding there. It's vanity as well. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Sure.
Vanity. And I have to traverse this very carefully because I'm sure we have mixed race people that listen to the show or couples that have mixed race children. But my vanity, I want to create a child that looks like me, and I want them to create children that look like me. So
I don't think anyone can fault you for that, Mo.
Well, they do though, because it's the racial construct of black. It don't matter because everything that's not white is black or colored.
So this Madison Grant dude, he was the secretary of the New York Zoological Society, and he wanted to put Ota Benga.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Ota Benga was one of the pygmies. He wanted to have he was an African black dude from the Mbuti tribe. He wanted to have them on display along with the apes at the Bronx Zoo.
Correct.
This is great.
And we talked about Sarah Barth. I kept forgetting her name. Hopentep Venus.
No.
Remember they had her on display for her large female parts.
Oh yeah. For her butt. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is racism. I want people to think about the 3/5 thing. Black people are 3/5. It's like they're a little bit more than animal, but they're not all the way human. That's what 3/5 is. I know it comes out of the voting and things of that nature, but just to have that kind of idea.
Yeah.
It had two purposes. One is, that it was a compromise on how when they started counting, I think the House of Representatives. We can't count a slave as a whole. So you give me 5 slaves, I count it as 3. So that was the
That's
political agreement.
So they justified that with scientific racism.
Correct. But it also lends to they're not really human.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's the point I'm trying to make. But let's get more into Madison Grant because you got more information in the clips, dude. 27.
There we go.
And so Grant invented what today we call wildlife management. And that's important because I think that once Grant made the philosophical decision that it was okay to regulate the wildlife population, it wasn't so hard for him to think it's okay to regulate the human population in our midst. So he propagated the idea of eugenics. The government should step in to regulate the breeding of the inferior people, the Jews, the Mexicans, the poor, the handicapped. And so Grant urged the states to institute sterilization statutes in which tens of thousands of Americans deemed to be unfit were sterilized against their will to prevent them from breeding. Grant also urged the states successfully to pass anti-miscegenation legislation.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. That's our history, people. That's our real history.
And this is a great example as it starts with us.
Yes, starts with you, but then, white cripple, goodbye.
Right. The quote unquote, what they called as the poor white trash, just to bring it full circle.
Yes.
Living in a train car. We had an episode, we talked about this already, but those people were deemed to be unwanted. Human weeds. We got to get rid of them. It's crazy, but it is what it is because. Well, with this euphemisms, let me take that back. Scratch that. It ain't what it is. It ain't what it is. It's the truth, and the truth is what gets you canceled nowadays.
Yeah,
because they want us to be living these little white lie bubbles. It's like, then we can't really talk about that.
Yeah, the truth,
even though we know about it. Yeah,
the truth gets you canceled, but the truth shall set you free in your mind.
Free from the system. And that's where the system works. In your mind, I can't say that. We can't have this conversation. You're self editing and self-censoring.
Self-censoring.
I can't. Can I say that? Even in this conversation with me and you, we're constantly, doing a dance.
Not much of it.
Not much, but it's the program's running. What I'm saying, the output is not there, but the program is running constantly. Can I say that? Do I use vax? Or can I say vaccine? Can I say COVID?
Mo, I feel so bad. You've really been affected by the programming. We got to work on you. I mean, I have no problem saying those words.
Well, I don't either, but I still
You ran through a filtering program just in case.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, is it worth it? No, is it? And this is just how you interact with people.
Well, for sure. For sure. I mean, I am more open and speak more freely on the podcasts, all of them, than in real life. Especially with people you don't know necessarily, but yeah. Oh, yeah, for
sure. It's just like with the mixed race conversation.
Yeah, I understand.
I know that I'm aware that people can fall in love with each other and they see past it, or that's the person they chose and that's the ideal person they want to be with. That's fine. But at the same time, how you had a conversation that is being used as propaganda as well.
Yes.
Inflammatory propaganda. Let's be clear.
Yep. True.
So now we got Farrakhan.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta get a little Farrakhan. So this is Farrakhan, I think, late 90s, early 2000s.
He was not running the filters.
No. Well, no, hold on. You be the judge.
Okay.
28.
Well, white people, let me help you with these thoughts. Your population is going down. The more black and white get together, the less white you'll see. If you want to die as a race, where there'll be no more white people on the planet, you're on the road to doing that by literally promoting miscegenation, promoting racial intermarriage.
Yeah. I don't know if he was holding back.
I think he was processing. I don't think he was holding back.
Well, yeah.
We know how Farrakhan put it down.
Yeah.
Like that was a different tone.
Yeah.
But I think he was saying that so his message didn't get lost, or it could be misconstrued as something else.
Well, he does that all the time in the way he speaks. So yeah, he's running his processes all the time for sure.
But there it is. He's saying the same thing around the same time Pat Buchanan's saying.
Yeah.
And Farrakhan knows, just like I know, or sees just like I see now, that we understand, like Pat Buchanan saying, how do we get this? Socialism. Socialism did what? It replaced the responsibility for not only the women and the children, but the man specifically. No man in the house. If the government can provide what the man provides, what protection and and finances,
no need
and you can
for
figure out the romance on your own. It's like we're freeing you up. You can go date and do whatever, have romantic relationships, but we got you when it comes to the finance and protection, which i.e. Police and welfare.
Yeah,
we went through that first. No man in the house. Now it's widespread, and Pat Buchanan picked up on it
in 2001.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's it's amazing when you look at, like, you don't get into your little bubbles. You can see a lot of different people, a lot of different angles are saying the same thing.
I wasn't even paying attention to Pat Buchanan in 2001. So believe me. So I love that you bring that back up.
Right. But the funny thing about, he was mostly on MSNBC.
Oh,
if I remember.
2000. Let me think. Yeah, no, you're right. He would have been MSNBC. Yeah. Well, it was different then. It was, then it was NBC and Microsoft, and cable was new, and things were just new. It was all new. So that still hadn't morphed yet, and we hadn't quite figured out how to. Well, quite honestly, we didn't have a Fox News at the time. We didn't have the opposition. We didn't have the battle. So you could still be kind of. And NBC at the time was a good product. For what it was a news product. NBC News they were really doing news. Now, the derivative MSNBC, there's no money. So they just talk about what the other guys are doing and play clips of them. They're not doing any reporting. It's no news. It's just opinion and playing and countering opinions from other people.
And they solidify bias, right?
Completely.
This is what woke is. This is what anti-woke is.
Yeah.
That kind of, and it just goes back and forth and back and forth. But at the end of the day, it'll be the moderates that stick around and they'll eliminate both extremes.
Yeah. Which you can also say is the unopinionated and maybe the least effective or least motivated.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's the key word, least motivated. Because he's like, I don't care. See it, but it ain't worth saying it.
Yeah, whatever.
It's not worth saying anything about it.
That's good.
So let's go ahead and get into this last little clipette of Farrakhan as he wraps up.
And the more you intermix with us, we will see the end of you by 2050. There won't be any more white people if you don't realize that separation will save you. And separation will give you more time as a white person on the earth.
No wonder he's such a problem. Can't have that guy saying this stuff in public. Can't have that.
And when you say that, it kind of hard to paint him as a race monger because which he said other things that make it easy. Don't get me wrong, but in this instance, think about it. If he was really anti-white, he wouldn't say the quiet part out loud.
Right.
He would
let it go.
On.
Yeah, keep it going, people. Do whatever you want. Sure.
But he understands, like I understand, that even if that's the goal, America is kind of like the movie Glory. Remember how the black troops were the first troops to try to take the fort?
Yep.
And they were mowed down?
Yep.
That's what it's going to be for. That's what it's going to be for a black American. We'll be absorbed. Now the cavalry might come, but it's two real problems I have with that. One, I'm not a crash dummy, and then two, I'm not a person that's trying to eliminate whole groups of people. I hope people understand that.
I also don't. Even though you're first, I don't think it's too late. I think we can. There's still a lot we can do.
Oh, of course. I mean, that's why we do the show. I mean, exactly. It's having these conversations and not in a cliche way, but listen to what we talk about. Maybe somebody goes and has this conversation with somebody else, or open up the free, like, hey, I feel like the replacement theory trying to get rid of us.
Yeah, or hey, listen to this series of shows.
Right.
Your mind might change. Sometimes it's easier if you have someone else say it, like us.
True.
Easier.
And
to
what
start
I love the most is the husband and wife. We give husband and wife couples something to talk. That's pretty cool.
That's my favorite too. I agree.
Well, thanks some more of them.
I like brand new money. I don't want any money around me that's not. I'd almost rather have a new one than an old 20. That's kind of dumb, isn't it? But there's something about new money that excites you. You like $100 bills?
Oh, yeah. I like new money, too.
Oh, most beautiful thing on earth is a $100 bill. I hadn't seen a woman as good looking as a $100 bill. There's something about a $100 bill that excites you.
Yeah, we're not gonna pussyfoot around it. We like new money. We call it value.
New money's the best.
Yeah, we call it value around here. You can do that with one of the modern podcast apps with boosting and streaming sats in real time. PayPal also accepted here. The rest of our producers, we'd like to mention them. As we got $40 from Alejandro Alocer. Thank you. Baroness Carol Ann of Southern Colorado, $40, sent a note. Moe, thank you for all your hard work that goes into bringing me and all your listeners such great content. I started an auto payment through PayPal some months back at $20 a month. My original note of how I can be praying for you gets resent each month. I'm not sure how to update that because I couldn't find it in PayPal. Know that I enjoy your show very much, and I will continue to remember you and the Factz family in my prayers. Thank you, and to you, Adam, and for all you do. Blessings, Baroness Carol Ann of Southern Colorado. Thank you, Baroness, for that extra donation in addition to your monthly. 40.
And we repeat because we like the idea you praying for us.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes, we do. $40 from Dustin Zimmer, 40 from Jennifer Cato, 39 from unknown parts, $30 from the following people: Aaron Sneed, Bo Baldwin, Christopher Bellier, Dave Jones, Lee Perkis, and SV. And Melissa Reeves sent $26.96 with a note. Adam, I believe I've listened to every Moe Factz episode, but I can't always remember when, where, and through which medium. In my process of changing my name before my wedding, getting it out of the way before the big day, and that is a process these days. It's not fun. Tina went through that, and to this day, I still appreciate it. It's crazy stupid how difficult it is. So I may have donated to you under another name on another account. This is my last PayPal donation, so I wanted to say thanks for the wake-up call. Don't worry, I'll keep paying forward the value I get out of this content. And if anyone in the Know Agenda Nation or Factz family needs any help going off the grid, both online and off, I have a master's in identity management and security and 2.5 years of experience. Wow. Not sure if that counts for anything, but my services are available. Just email me at me.lisareeve17@proton.me. me.lisareeve, and that's Lissa Reeve, the double S, LISSAREEVE 17@proton.me. That's a master's in identity management. Love that. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Going off the grid. Yes. Jacob Alley, $25, wants a deadbeating. We got that for you.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
Susan Tillett with 25. Alex Grandin, thanks for the excellent product. Sam Smock, 2332. Andrea Jackson with 20. Benjamin Barlow with 20. Christy Carlton with the same. Edwin Torres with $20 and a request for a GBG. Happy to do that.
We have a ballot.
These are all 20s. Jacob Hernandez, 91 is a classic. Jason Sidor, this payment is for past shows. I love your work. Don't stop. Just do one show a month. If you can do it, I can commit $5 on it, $5 on it for each future show. You can refer to me as Peachy Brown. Many thanks. You got a Peachy Brown. Kyle Tack, $20. Louis Lombard, Michael Talbot, Seth Peterson, Terrence Lynch, Vanessa Steinbach, and Walter Foss, all $20. Thank you. Mark J. Asher, $12.36. Joshua Goodson with 10. Sad to see you go. Love to watch you leave. Don't worry. As we said, good things happening. Johnny Hipwell with $9.99. Thank you, Moe and Adam. Johnny from Canada. Benjamin Bateman, two $7.77 donations. 100 will never be enough. Just like the time we spend with our loved ones, we always want more. Keeping it real. Keep keeping it real. Vincent Farrell, $5.55. James Holly with $5. Gonna miss you, Mo. Could I have some Mo Karma? First one, actually, for today, of course.
Mm-hmm. You've got
Mo Karma.
Moises Hernandez with a $4.20. Gonna miss you all. Terry Keller, the human subscription machine. Sad to see it end, but happy to be here for the ride. Not over yet, Terry. Matthew Clemens, $3.69. Note in email to Moe Factz, subject donation, content, the real-life origin of the Holy Spirit, a beatnik-style slang term for far more reverent than shrooms. Drum roll. Jesus Christ, you got it. Aaron Geyer, $1. You will be missed. Thank you. And that is it. Thank you all so much for supporting episode number 92 of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. Keep it going. We still have 8 more on deck. And as we said, there will be more Mo. There will always be more me and some of us together, I'm sure, in the future. Go to mofactz.com to find out how to donate, or go to podcastapps.com to get an app to do it on the fly. Thank you very much.
All right, so I guess we can jump back in and listen to some more Madison Grant if you're interested.
Yeah, this guy's funny. Let's do it.
In 1916, Grant wrote his best-selling book, The Passing of the Great Race. It's one of the most important books of the 20th century. Grant sets forth the theory that the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Nordics are at the top of the ethnological pyramid, with all the other races falling in place beneath the Nordics. It was a very influential book. Adolf Hitler, who in 1924 was doing research for his autobiography, Mein Kampf, was given a copy of Passing of the Great Race. He immediately fired off a fan letter to Madison Grant, in which he said, "This book is my Bible." The Nazis come to power in 1933, and you can see how the German policies are directly influenced by the passing of the Great Race. Straight on to the final solution under which 6 million Jews were murdered. It is chilling that after World War II, when the Allies put the remaining Nazi leaders on trial for crimes against humanity, Dr. Karl Brandt, he was Adolf Hitler's leading physician in the Third Reich, and he entered passages from the Passing of the Great Race that had urged the state to destroy sickly infants and to get rid of inferior races. And so the Nazis defended their policies by pointing to this best-selling American book.
Yeah, I think I even mentioned that on my most recent Megyn Kelly appearance. I said, Hitler was sending fan letters. Now,
he predates Hitler by 8 years with his book. I mean, when he had discovered it, 1924.
He was sending fan letters, but I didn't realize that it was to Madison Grant. And what's really unfortunate, I think, is that the Holocaust and Hitler and eugenics is pretty much cemented in history as just anti-Jew. And it was only Jews, but it was so much more. And when you put it in this context, it really shows you how the where we are right now with the woke, let's just call it that, trans movement. Thank you for pointing out trans as a transition of all kinds of things. And it's just more of the same.
Yes. And you said earlier in the show that pre-Nazi Germany had a lot of the same stuff going on in it.
Yeah.
Prior to the rise of.
Yes.
So where are we headed? I mean, that's the real question. Is where are we headed with this? Because I hope people really pay attention to the fact that it started here. The idea of eugenics and this, bettering of the, of people,
preservation of the race, preservation of the country. We had county fairs where your beautiful baby contest. We had a Supreme Court justice who said, we probably shouldn't have a third generation of morons. There's your word.
Exactly. Then it goes to Germany. It gets refined.
Whoa. I don't know about the gassing, man. That's a little too weird. We got to be quiet over here.
It goes to Germany, it gets established.
Yes.
And then it gets refined and brought back to America.
Yes.
And like MK Ultra, all
Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood. There's your refination.
Yeah.
Refinement. I made up a new word.
Don't worry. No, it's okay.
Yeah.
And I want to give people a real world example of how this plays out. Remember the scene for Forrest Gump when his mom takes him in for the intelligence test?
Yes.
And she's like, the dude was like, he falls here, down here.
Yeah.
And if she allowed him to be classified like that, nothing else after happens.
Oh, you're right.
In the real world sense of it, Forrest Gump would probably have been sterilized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just want to give people an example of that, to say, that's a real world example of you fall under this line, you don't deserve to have a life.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
But it's a lot slicker now.
Of course. Well, to the point where they make it your idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we do have some pretty good pharmaceuticals that help them convince people.
Mm-hmm.
Get your kids on these drugs, and then we can easily talk them into it.
I keep saying I gotta stop that. But because I truly do hope people take a look at what's going on. We're saying if you're homeless, if you're mentally ill in Canada, kill yourself.
Yeah.
And that's the moral thing to do.
Yeah. Well, and that's because the Canadians are so much further along in the programming. Here we just, hey, how about a syringe? Yeah, well, how about a crack pipe?
Free meth pipes, dollar fentanyl.
Yeah, see what you can do. See what you can do with this. Yes. I know. People don't see it. But they will.
Watch when the pendulum swings back, which it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was, drugs need to be decriminalized. We're past that. We shouldn't be locking people up for drugs. And then they realize what it does to society.
Mm-hmm.
So then they say we need to up the potency of the drugs so we kill them faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's refinement right there in front of your face. Like, we can't have 60, 70-year-old junkies. We just can't have that.
No. Oh, man.
So we give them something that's going to knock their socks off.
Yeah. Make it nice and potent.
and make a profit off it. Make a profit off of it while we're at it.
Well, we are America after all. So yeah.
That's true. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get into the final part of the Madison Grant clip.
After World War II, no one in America could publicly say they favored eugenics, and for half a century, his ideas lay dormant. Madison Grant died in 1937. He was a largely forgotten figure. Eugenics is making a comeback here at the beginning of the 21st century. We have the Human Genome Project. We can now see the actual genes that Madison Grant could only hypothesize. Some of the things that Madison Grant postulated, it turns out, a number of our personality traits are inherited. What's interesting, the internet has allowed scattered groups of tiny individuals to share the passing of the great race with each other. Thanks to the World Wide Web, Madison Grant and eugenics are making a comeback.
Yeah, well, and that's what the mRNA is about, and what 23andMe is about, and CRISPR is about. Yeah.
Oh, CRISPR's a big one.
Yeah, CRISPR's on deck.
And it's amazing nobody really talks about that. We talked about it in our earlier years of the show.
Mm-hmm.
But the power of that technology, and the lack of understanding. Go ahead.
They just approved something. Yes, here it is, April 2023. First CRISPR therapy seeks landmark approval. The FDA is now evaluating some of this stuff for therapy, you see. And what CRISPR does is it literally splices genes together.
Yes, but they don't know what they're splicing together.
Who cares? It's fun.
I mean, they kind of can guess, but they don't know the outcome. Just as a quick aside, remember the case when they had the mosquito with the black eyes? And they put the one red eye mosquito in there that they had altered with CRISPR.
Yeah.
And they came back and they found all of them had red eyes, and they didn't expect that.
Mm-hmm.
This year, elite at work. It's like, we're going to throw it against the wall, and whatever sticks.
Yeah. And you know who pioneered this work? Joseph Mengele. You know, the Nazi doctor.
I wonder who his American OG was, though. Because we got to remember, everything they were doing over there started here.
Yeah.
You started me with a rabbit hole. Thank you, Adam. I got to figure out who his OG was. Just like Madison Grant was Hitler's.
Yeah.
Because all the ideas started here. All the technology started here. It just did kind of like how with Ukraine now, we're just kind of outsourcing it.
Yes, totally.
Which, that's sad. So let's listen to a suspected, I gotta be clear, a suspected white supremacist speak. This is from show 47. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
What we do between now and 2050 with education, with economic growth, with health and nutrition, that'll really set the course for moderating the population growth between 2050 and 2100.
Yeah.
But it's really a virtuous cycle, letting women have reproductive health tools that they want, educating girls, raising agriculture productivity, getting these malnutrition interventions on a much greater scale than we have today. Those are the things you would want to do anyway. It turns out that by doing those well, you also set the population growth rate coming down quite a bit. And so it just makes it that much more imperative that we invest in the human capital now, and so that the challenge of what under any scenario will be fairly high population growth, that you're able to benefit from all those young people making a big contribution to their country.
Yeah. I love the little laugh.
Isn't that
tone.
great?
Yeah, that little laugh tone there was good. Got a little laugh in there. Creepy guy.
So basically, just to surmise what he said, the smarter we make them, the less babies they'll have.
That's right.
And if they're dumb enough to take our poison, allegedly, it's going to kill them anyway.
Yeah. Win-win.
And this is the number games that they play. This is what Neely Floyd's talking about. It's a numbers game.
Which brings us right back to what you said. It's like, oh, you didn't take our poison. Oh, good. We like you. You can hang around. We need you. We want people like you.
Yes. But you would think Bill Gates would tell his daughter not to get married and have children, if that's what he, if he really believed that
about it. Yeah, exactly.
But he's not. It's like, we don't want more though, and fill in the blank with the country with brown people that they pushing the nonsense to, or non-white people. Let me say it like that, because now that even orange people, we saw with certain counties got hit with certain batches of the vaccine.
That's what we've heard. Yeah, the bad batches.
They went to orange counties.
Yes, they did.
So. Couple more clips. That's one suspected white supremacist talking. And here's another one. This is from the World Economic Forum. And Noval Harari, I think that's how he pronounced his name.
Oh, Harari. Yeah, this guy's no good. This is the Israeli guy. Oh, no, he's horrible. Yeah, here we go.
Now, in the past, many times, and nobody had enough computing power and data to hack millions of people. Neither the Gestapo nor the KGB could do it. But soon, at least some corporations and governments will be able to systematically hack all the people. We humans should get used to the idea that we are no longer mysterious souls. We are now hackable animals. Humans are now hackable animals. The whole idea that humans have, they have this soul or spirit and they have free will and nobody knows what's happening inside me. So whatever I choose, whether in the election or whether in the supermarket, this is my free will, that's over. Free will, that's over.
Yeah, this guy is a fan favorite. Harari. And people love him. He's top of the pyramid. He's up there with all the white supremacists.
I respect him because he says
very clearly,
we don't need you anymore. And he even alluded to the computing power that they have now that other groups didn't have. That we could actually we don't need you people around anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and we'll just program you to buy what we need, to take what we need. We'll just do all of that. Yeah. No, he's not shameful. He's not bashful about it. That's for sure.
So how do you hack people? That's the number one question. And I have Laurel Aricia. I think that's how you Erica, if you pronounce it the hard R. But she's a self-identified fairy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she's also a big studier of language and affects language. And she speaks on the spell of the English language.
In all our efforts to heal our psyche and raise consciousness on the planet, we have all but overlooked the very instrument of conscious thought and communication. Yet our forked tongue English language, which is the leading software of the Western mind, is itself in great need of retuning and upgrading. Over the course of my life, I cultivated a heightened sensitivity to how the total normality of insanity in society is echoed, reflected, and reinforced by the English language, which inadvertently yet unavoidably propagates an antiquated and manipulated vision of reality promulgated by the ancient church as an instrument of mind control at a time when people had to surrender their mind if they wanted to keep their heads about them, quite literally.
Okay. Well, first of all, you rang the bell. I like that too, that English language is the software.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but she's saying that we need to upgrade it. How would we do that? I mean, Upgrade the software, upgrade the language as software, upgrade our interpretation of it.
Upgrade, I would think, the actual words that we use, because we use certain words that's not what we mean. Yeah. Oftentimes we use terms that are not even defined between two people. We often stop each other like, what did you mean by that? Like you were saying, the Fabian, like, what did you mean by that? So you can get a better, as Grump says, the big you understanding, right? That's the point. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. But this language in itself, and I'm not trying to get rid of the human language, I'm saying the way it's used. So it is being upgraded, but it's being upgraded in very nefarious ways. Very small example. mRNA is now defined in all dictionaries as a vaccine. So it is being upgraded, but in very, very evil ways. What was it? Not depression, recession. Change the definition. Oh yeah, we're not in a recession. No, it's not two negative quarters. No, it's just not it anymore. And we just talked about the asylum-seeking migrants. Yep, the euphemisms. Right. So when you say you're anti-migrant, I'm not anti-migrant. Yes, you are. No. Yeah. I'm anti-illegal immigrant. Now, what was that bit about the church? She was saying about the church is the one that pushed the English language, and people had to basically kowtow to it or lose their head, literally. And we're not literally losing our heads now, but you literally can, take a big loss if you don't adhere or conform. Right. Pronouns. I mean, you're on this beat. Yeah, there you go. Pronouns. Exactly. Yes, exactly. Okay, so and let's explain to people, for people who may not listen to No Agenda, the pronoun thing. You just like a 2-minute, because I want people to understand, because it's a great example about words and how they're being used. Well, it's literally a spell, and it's confusing your brain. And I believe the pronoun issue, or pronoun using words and descriptions, or pronouns literally, that do not fit what your eyes see in front of you. So, this is they, this is them, when you see one person, or this is he, when it's clearly a she. In my mind, this was introduced to upset the balance between children and parents. That's the point I wanted you to get to. I wanted you to explain it. And that's very, that's sinful. In fact, it's a very big problem. And it comes right back to the white lie, and to, I'm just going to go along with it because I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And you're lying. When you go along with it, you're lying. You're lying. But I still like the white lie. It's not just a lie, but it's a white lie. Oh, so we're telling that on behalf of the white supreme. Is the way I'm going to interpret that from now on. You don't want to upset people, so I'll lie to myself. Which that's the only, when you lie to yourself, you're disrespecting yourself. Yes, and that's really the only respect there is. So it's now you're in a position of being conflicted, because I know the truth, but I'm a lie to myself, to keep my head, basically. Mo, I'm going to say to you what I would say after the show anyway. This was a great episode. This was a very important one. And in a way, even for me, it brought some things. Now, of course, we haven't done a show for a couple weeks here, but it reinforced things so well, and how we're all together in this. And share this episode, share the entire series with people. Let them discover it for themselves. It'll start conversations that will probably, save us in the future as humans, as just human beings together, working together, living together, and trying not to live under the oppressive boot of the white supremacists. And I appreciate you saying that, Adam. And I just say to people, start an uncomfortable conversation with somebody you trust. There you go. Perfect example. So, So that's it. That's the orange episode.
Yes, a good one.
Hopefully it's beneficial to people. And as I always say, pay attention to everything and the truth will reveal itself.
And we will reveal ourselves for episode number 93 in the near future. Keep an eye on the socials. Keep an eye on your podcast app. Get a new one, podcastapps.com. Mo, I'll talk to you soon, brother.
All right, talk to you later, Adam.
It'll be fine by dusk cloud, I'm telling you, baby. These things eat at your bones and drive your young mind crazy. But when you place your hand between my collar and jaw, I don't know much, but there's no weight at all. And I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. 'Cause if I say I miss you, I know that you won't. But I miss you in the mornings when I see the sun. Something in the orange tells me we're not done. To you I'm just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. To you I'm just a man, to me you're all I am. Where the hell am I supposed to go? I poison myself again. Something in the orange tells me you're never coming home. If you leave today, I'll just stare at the way the orange touches all things around. The grass, trees, and dew, how I just hate you. Please turn those headlights around. Please turn those headlights around.